Corporations assess executives for just about every competency except business acumen, arguably the one most valued by shareholders and profit-making companies. But a sea change is taking place. Several new factors, involving the discipline of leadership development and external economic factors, are driving the realization that leadership development needs to focus specifically on business acumen. Shortcomings of traditional approaches. Shortcomings in traditional leadership approaches, which rely on personality and competency assessments as the scientific core of their approach, are becoming increasingly obvious. These include mounting evidence that traditional assessments have no direct link with financial outcome, shortcomings in financial literacy and business simulation approaches, and the emergence of the disciplines of behavioral economics and finance. Traditional assessments have no direct link with financial outcome. The business side of companies has long made the observation that traditional assessments have no direct link with financial outcome. This view now has academic respectability from a number of sources, including past editors of the respected journal Personnel Psychology. Their work shows that personality tests have little or no impact on job performance and outcome. 2. Morgeson et al., 2007. Research by Peter Capelli, at Wharton, has also cast strong doubt on the use of traditional personality and competency assessments. 1. Capelli, 2007. Shortcomings in financial literacy and business simulation approaches. In response to the idea that traditional leadership approaches have serious flaws in the business and financial arenas, many corporations have turned to developmental approaches designed to help executives to gain training that is more relevant to their business needs. The two principal approaches used have been to target financial literacy and to conduct business simulations. Financial literacy training usually comprises either in-house courses conducted by academics or financial experts, or academic courses such as those conducted at universities. However, these suffer from several major shortcomings. Most senior executives already have such knowledge, so it is of little or no relevance to them. Even junior managers who have business qualifications already have this knowledge. Most importantly, there is no evidence that higher financial literacy has any impact on increasing business acumen and changing behavior. Indeed, there is some evidence to the contrary. 3. Zagorski, 2007. It is becoming clear that making money is more of a behavioral than a literacy issue. Business simulations are usually conducted at less senior levels of management. They clearly have some value. However, they take place in idealized settings where participants know they are being observed and where their behavior is unlikely to be similar to what would occur in practice. Furthermore, business simulations cannot rigorously reveal how the particular behavior of individual participants has affected the outcome because these simulations have no method scientifically to identify or measure different financial behaviors. At best, then, such exercises show participants only what could happen generally, rather than what would actually happen in their own case, given their own individual behavior. Emergence of the disciplines of behavioral economics and finance. Traditional leadership development approaches have been based on the disciplines of psychology, sociology, and anthropology. They have failed to incorporate findings from economic and financial disciplines. However, emerging disciplines of behavioral finance and behavioral economics are of far more relevance to leadership development. Unfortunately, most leadership development specialists are unfamiliar, or uncomfortable, with finance and economics. But the emergence of popular works in these fields, such as those by Nassim, Taleb, 2007, and others, is popularizing these fields. In effect, the popular imagination is bypassing leadership development in this area and casting doubt on traditional approaches. We can expect this trend to continue and for the findings of these disciplines increasingly to affect leadership development approaches through the impact of popular pressure rather than initiatives by leadership development specialists. Global economic developments. Powerful global economic trends are also affecting leadership development. These are converging in such a way as to increase the importance of business acumen in leadership development approaches. The trends include the global economic slowdown, global shortages of key commodities, emerging countries that have little or no familiarity with traditional leadership approaches, and environmental cost-benefit issues. The global economic slowdown. The global economic slowdown has major implications for leadership development. For a start, It is likely that budgets in this area will be cut as companies act on the perception that leadership development expenditures do not necessarily lead to higher economic benefit, especially in the short term. Issues such as the credit crisis also focus attention on the fact that business acumen is a desirable competency in itself if future crises are to be averted, or at least minimized. 5. Perth Leadership Institute, 2007. We can confidently expect that there will be more pressure from the business side of corporations to increase the focus on business acumen for these reasons. In fact, this is already occurring. Global shortages of key commodities. The emerging shortage of key commodities is also having a major impact. The shortage is putting pressure on leaders to find new ways to counter these problems. Business acumen again is a competency in short supply that is much needed both to find substitutes and to minimize the effects of these shortages. We can expect that business leaders will push leadership development specialists to be part of the solution here. Emerging countries that have little or no familiarity with traditional leadership approaches. In just the same way that emerging economies such as China and India have skipped the phase of using landlines, instead going direct to mobile telephony, so too are they likely to avoid traditional leadership approaches. There is little familiarity with traditional approaches and, to some degree, little tolerance of them. In countries such as India, China and Brazil, the focus is on how to use leadership development to increase competitive positions at both company and country levels. We can expect that the emerging economies will increasingly influence, and even maybe eventually dominate, the global leadership development agenda. In this, they will tend to focus on business acumen at least as much as, if not more than, traditional psychological approaches. Environmental cost-benefit issues. The environmental arena might seem to be an unlikely source of impact on leadership development, yet it is clear that this is becoming more important as an issue to all companies. No more is it an acceptable approach just to throw money at solving environmental problems. In a world of economic slowdown and commodity shortages, environmental concerns will increasingly drive demand for leaders who have business acumen that can help to solve some of the thorniest issues that are at the confluence of profitability and environmental trends. Leadership development will increasingly be called upon to contribute also to finding solutions for these issues. The future of business acumen. We can expect research in the area of business acumen to increase and to have an increasing impact on leadership development and HR agendas, not only in the private sector, but also in the government and nonprofit sectors, where such approaches are sorely needed. Leadership development, organizational development and HR specialists will need rapidly to absorb these new findings and to incorporate them into their leadership development and their executive selection and recruitment programs in order to stay relevant to these rapidly emerging needs. 1. Capelli, P. 2007, Assessing Personality, Human Resource Executive Online, October 15. 2. Morgeson, F. Campion, M. Dipoy, R. Hollenbeck, J. Murphy, K. and Schmidt, N. 2007, Reconsidering the Use of Personality Tests in Personnel Selection Contexts, Personnel Psychology, Volume 60, pages 683 to 729. 3. Zagorski, J. 2007, Do You Have to Be Smart to Be Rich? The Impact of IQ on Wealth, Income and Financial Distress, Intelligence, Volume 35 No. 5, pages 489 to 510. 4. Taleb, N. 2007, The Black Swan, The Impact of the Highly Improbable, Random House, New York, New York. 5. Perth Leadership Institute, 2007, A Recession's Role in Transforming Leadership Development, available at www.perthleadership.org/documents/wp_recession.pdf. About the author. Dr. E. Ted Prince, founder and chief executive of the Perth Leadership Institute, has also been CEO of several other companies, both public and private. He is the author of The 3 Financial Styles of Very Successful Leaders, McGraw-Hill, 2005, and numerous other publications in this area. He is a frequent speaker at industry conferences. He works with large corporations globally on leadership development programs, and coaches senior executives and teams in the areas of improving their financial and valuation impact. E. Ted Prince can be contacted at etedprince@perthleadership.org. E. Ted Prince remote teams have become an integral part CF Leadership Institute CF global organizations in an increasingly digital era. The complexities CF knowledge sharing and management within teams were explored. A focus was placed on the leadership practices that influenced complexities. Using qualitative insights from participants, the importance CF transformational leadership in fostering a culture CF open communication, trust, and collaboration in remote settings was emphasized in the study. The findings indicated that HAT leaders who showed transformational traits such as charisma, authenticity, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration enhanced knowledge sharing within their teams. Leaders' practices promoted knowledge sharing and positively impacted team productivity, job satisfaction, and retention. In remote work, transformational leadership was pivotal in ensuring effective knowledge management, underscoring its importance for contemporary organizations aiming for growth and innovation in a digital landscape. Keywords: effective leadership, transformational leadership, knowledge sharing, trust, communication, collaboration. Introduction. The rapid shift to remote working during the COVID-19 pandemic has brought the challenges of managing knowledge in remote teams to the forefront. The transition to remote work, accelerated by the pandemic, has altered traditional work dynamics, introducing unique challenges related to supervision, social isolation, and communication breakdowns, impacting employee turnover and productivity. David Avicii et al., 2020. The lack of effective communication strategies among leaders in remote settings has been identified as a significant factor affecting knowledge sharing, productivity, and employee turnover. Sinquiz Diaz and Ortiz Soto, 2019. Emotional intelligence and transformational leaders are crucial for effective communication in remote teams. Lack of in transformation can escalate employee stress and turnover. Cortellazzo et al., 2019. Emotional intelligence enhances employee performance and productivity by fostering better team relationships and understanding. Quisenberry, 2018. Cultural differences can create misunderstandings and impede knowledge sharing in remote teams. David Avicii et al., 2020. Recognizing and respecting cultural diversity is essential for building trust and commitment among team members. This research project delves into the complexities of knowledge sharing in such teams, exploring the impact of leadership communication strategies on productivity and employee retention. The research explores why some leaders struggle with effective communication strategies in remote teams, leading to reduced productivity and increased turnover. Investigating how knowledge sharing within remote teams can be optimized, considering the challenges of geographical dispersion and cultural differences. The research will employ a structured approach, including defining the problem and purpose statements, developing a conceptual framework based on research questions, and selecting an appropriate research method. Problem statement. The general problem is that leaders lack strategies for effective communication to manage knowledge sharing between remote teams, resulting in increased turnover and lower productivity. Cortellazzo et al., 2019, stated that despite a rise in remote work and less face-to-face interaction, leaders needed more effective plans to manage knowledge sharing to improve organizational performance, resulting in a fall in daily output. A recent study by Highland Wood et al., 2021, found that unsuccessfully implementing operative communication approaches within teams caused a notable downturn in work operations by management. According to George and Massey, 2020, organizational leaders who should have prioritized communication plans essential in connecting teams experienced increased employee turnover. The specific problem is the ineffective communication strategies in remote teams within the defense industry and developing recommendations to enhance knowledge sharing. The study seeks to improve employee retention, productivity, and operational success in this critical sector by addressing these challenges. The outcomes of this research could offer valuable insights for leaders in the defense industry and other sectors facing similar challenges with remote work dynamics. Significance of the study. Today's work environment increasingly emphasizes remote organizational structures, making organizations need to understand effective knowledge-sharing strategies to promote improved communication, enhance performance, and reduce attrition rates. Smith and Ruiz, 2020. This study provided insights into leadership strategies that facilitated effective knowledge sharing among geographically dispersed teams, thus addressing the challenges of remote work arrangements. This section delved into improving leadership practices, the connection between biblical principles and leadership, and strategic leadership practice. These topics shed light on how the findings fostered a conducive environment for effective knowledge dissemination, leadership development, and an organizational culture imbued with biblical principles. As a result of this study, A concerted effort was made to contribute to the academic discussion surrounding remote leadership and knowledge management. However, it also provided organizational leaders with actionable strategies aligned with biblical values, promoting an integrated approach to managing remote teams in the modern workplace. Literature review. The literature review aimed to understand the critical theme of communication strategies leaders in remote organizations employed to foster knowledge sharing and collaboration. The investigation examined concepts, including the effectiveness of leadership practices, communication, knowledge management's foundational concepts and theories, and the challenges and benefits associated with remote team dynamics. Leadership practices in remote organizations were the core of this scholarly examination. Leadership effectiveness theories and constructs served as crucibles for distilling the attributes of successful remote leadership. An array of leadership theories was explored, each providing a unique perspective on remote team management. The literature review explored the essence of effective leadership by comparing various leadership and communication strategies while carving out a multifaceted understanding of the phenomenon. Leadership practices in remote organization. Leadership in remote settings requires communication skills, motivation techniques, trust building, and knowledge management. Durrani et al. 2020. Leadership effectiveness in these environments is not just procedural but is deeply intertwined with these qualities. Knowledge management. The review highlights the pivotal role of knowledge management in remote teams. Benefits include improved decision-making, problem-solving, and fostering a sense of employee belonging. Nisar et al. 2019 concluded that effective knowledge management is essential for organizational growth and adaptation to remote work challenges. Challenges and benefits of remote work dynamics. Various challenges of remote work, such as geographical dispersion, time zone differences, and potential isolation. The benefits include increased flexibility and improved customer experiences. Garo Abarca et al. 2021. Communication strategies. The importance of effective communication strategies in remote teams is a recurring theme. These strategies include clear documentation, regular check-ins, and technology to bridge communication gaps. Ali et al. 2021. Trust is a foundation for collaboration. Trust is identified as a cornerstone for successful remote collaboration, linking it directly to leadership effectiveness and knowledge sharing. Steinman et al. 2019. Integrating leadership and communication theories. Connecting leadership theories and communication strategies highlights how they work together to enhance remote team management. Ali et al. 2021. Impact of lack of strategies. Addressing the consequences of inadequate strategies in remote organizations, such as decreased employee productivity, innovation barriers, and high turnover rates. Cortellazzo et al. 2019. Leadership role in remote organizations. Multifaceted leadership. Leadership in remote organizations is critical for shaping culture, strategies, and functionality. Effective leadership is essential for the success and sustainability of an organization. Newman et al. 2020. Transformational and ethical leadership. Transformational leadership is pivotal for implementing effective organizational knowledge-sharing strategies. Cyanchoque et al. 2019. Transformational leaders create open, trusting environments, motivating and inspiring employees to share ideas and foster organizational growth. Leadership and knowledge management. Effective knowledge-sharing management is essential for optimal results. Influential leaders use information technology to enhance organizational performance and foster environments conducive to knowledge sharing. Ethical leadership and information sharing. Ethical leadership is crucial for facilitating team members to share information and create a prosocial environment. The problem, challenges in remote leadership. Adapting to remote work. Leaders face challenges adapting to remote work dynamics, requiring new communication strategies to keep teams integrated and functional. Communication issues. Ineffective communication approaches can hamper task execution, weaken organizational culture, and lead to higher employee turnover. Concepts, organizational performance and flexibility. Impact of knowledge sharing on organizational performance. Effective knowledge sharing significantly contributes to organizational performance, enhancing productivity, innovation, and employee satisfaction. Park, 2017. Organizational flexibility. Flexibility in organizational structures enhances communication flow and adaptability, especially in remote work environments. Flax et al. 2017. Theories, Leadership and Communication. Transformational leadership theory focuses on motivating and encouraging positive team changes. It includes idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Al-Harbi et al., 2019. Communication theory in remote teams addresses the challenges and dynamics of effective communication in remote teams, emphasizing the role of technology and the importance of establishing clear communication protocols. Constructs trust and leadership effectiveness. Trust as a construct. Trust is foundational for effective knowledge sharing in remote teams. It fosters open communication and collaborative decision-making. Breuer et al., 2019. Leadership effectiveness. Effective leadership fosters a knowledge-sharing culture in remote teams. It involves creating trust, providing feedback, and ensuring engagement. Kurlan-Butkin, 2022. The comprehensive review underscores the complexity of leadership roles in remote settings, highlighting the interplay between leadership styles, communication strategies, and the importance of trust and effectiveness in leadership. This intricate balance fosters a conducive knowledge-sharing environment, improving organizational performance and sustainability. Conceptual framework. The conceptual framework for this research centers around understanding the dynamics of knowledge sharing in remote teams, especially within the defense industry. The framework is anchored in two critical theories: transformational leadership theory and communication theory. This approach explores the interplay between leadership, communication, and knowledge sharing and how these elements contribute to organizational performance and flexibility. The conceptual framework thus integrates transformational leadership theory and communication theory to explore the effective management of knowledge sharing in remote teams. By examining the roles of leaders and team members, the constructs of trust and leadership effectiveness, and the impact of these factors on organizational performance and flexibility, the research aims to provide insights into how remote teams in the defense industry can overcome challenges related to knowledge sharing, thereby enhancing productivity and reducing turnover. Theoretical foundations. Transformational leadership theory. Transformational leadership involves leaders who inspire and motivate team members toward achieving higher goals and developing their leadership potential. Cyanchoque et al., 2019. This theory is relevant in understanding how leaders in remote teams can foster a culture of effective knowledge sharing, thereby enhancing team performance and member engagement. Transformational leaders can create an environment that encourages open communication and trust, which is essential for effective knowledge sharing among remote team members. Liu and Li, 2018. Communication theory. Communication theory deals with human communication processes and the impact of communication on relationships and organizational structures. Van Ruler, 2018. The theory helps understand communication strategies' role in facilitating knowledge sharing in a remote work context. Effective communication is critical to successful knowledge management, influencing team cohesion, trust, and overall organizational performance. Braslauskas, 2020. Key concepts. Organizational performance and knowledge sharing. Effective knowledge sharing is closely linked to improved organizational performance, with leaders playing a pivotal role in facilitating this process. Velasco Villa et al., 2017, Park, 2017. Organizational flexibility and communication. Flexibility in organizational structure can enhance communication effectiveness, leading to more efficient knowledge sharing and increased competitiveness. Flax et al., 2017. Actors. Leaders and team members. Leaders are crucial in driving the culture of knowledge sharing and communication within remote teams. Newman et al., 2020. Team members' participation and support are essential for knowledge sharing initiatives' success and achieving organizational goals. Han et al., 2017. Constructs. Trust. Trust between team members and leaders is fundamental to successful knowledge sharing, influencing productivity and commitment. Kim and Yi, 2018, Sumer, 2020. Leadership effectiveness. The effectiveness of leadership in managing remote teams is a critical factor in determining the success of knowledge sharing and overall team performance. Eisenberg et al., 2019, Kayworth and Leidner, 2002. Research method and design appropriateness. The research design served as a blueprint for the study, detailing the methods and procedures used to collect and analyze data. Yin, 2018, emphasized the pivotal role of research questions in deciding the right design. It was crucial in guiding the researcher to achieve the study's aims. The research question and the nature of the topic under study influenced the choice of research design. The types of research designs were fixed, flexible, and mixed methods. Yin, 2018. There are 5 types of qualitative research: ethnography, narrative, case study grounded, and phenomenological. The selection of the appropriate research design is guided by the study's goals to understand the dynamics of knowledge sharing and communication within a specific organizational setting. Inappropriateness of certain research designs. Fixed research design. This design, typical in quantitative research, is less suitable for this study due to its rigidity and focus on numerical data and statistical relationships. The complex and multifaceted nature of knowledge sharing and leadership practices in remote teams demands a more flexible and exploratory approach. Mixed methods research design. While offering a comprehensive understanding through a combination of quantitative and qualitative data, there are better designs for the focused inquiry of this study, which primarily seeks qualitative insights into organizational dynamics. Narrative methodology. This approach, centered on individual life stories and experiences, does not align with the study's focus on organizational practices and collective dynamics. Phenomenological methodology. Focused on individual lived experiences and subjective interpretations, phenomenology does not sufficiently address the objective exploration of organizational communication processes. Grounded theory methodology. This approach is geared towards inductive theory construction from data, which diverges from the study's aim to explore and understand existing communication processes. Ethnography methodology. With its emphasis on cultural immersion and long-term field engagement, ethnography is not well suited for this study, which concentrates on dissecting communication processes within an organizational context. The flexible case study research design is the most appropriate for this study. The case study research method allows for an in-depth investigation of the complex issue of knowledge sharing within its real-life context, using multiple sources of evidence. Case studies offer the flexibility required for exploring the nuances of knowledge sharing and leadership practices in remote teams, accommodating the evolving nature of qualitative research. The case study approach enables the integration of various data sources, offering a multifaceted view of the phenomena under study. It allows for examining processes and outcomes within the organizational setting, aligning with the study's objectives to understand the dynamics of communication and knowledge sharing in remote teams. Research questions. The research questions formulated for this study are designed to explore the multifaceted aspects of knowledge sharing in remote teams, mainly focusing on the role of leadership. These questions are crucial in dissecting the complexities of knowledge management and its impact on organizational effectiveness in a remote work setting. Research question 1. What was the role C/leaders in effective knowledge sharing? Research question law. What were the challenges faced by leaders while managing knowledge sharing? Research question Q2. What effect did EF knowledge sharing strategies have on organizational effectiveness? Research question RQ3. What were the most effective knowledge sharing strategies to increase productivity and retention in remote teams? Population and sample. In qualitative research, population refers to the entire group being studied. At the same time, sampling involves selecting a smaller subset of individuals or observations from that population that make inferences about the whole group. Vasileu et al., 2018. A sample representative of the population should ensure the validity of any conclusions drawn from the data and should be chosen carefully to accurately reflect the characteristics of the population. Martinez Mesa et al., 2016. The study population focuses on leaders who oversee remote teams in organizations that have adopted remote work as an operational strategy. Leaders with at least 1 year in their current position, ensuring they have sufficient experience and exposure to the dynamics of remote team management. These individuals can provide insights into effective knowledge sharing strategies and the challenges in remote work environments. The study uses non-probability sampling, specifically purposive sampling, which is apt for qualitative research focusing on in-depth, rich data collection from a specific population subset. Selecting participants based on their relevance to the research questions and objectives, thus ensuring that the data collected is meaningful and applicable to the study's goals. By focusing on a specific subset of the population, leaders of remote teams, and employing purposive sampling, The research is positioned to gather rich and in-depth insights. The ongoing assessment for thematic saturation ensures that the study comprehensively covers the nuances of knowledge sharing and leadership in remote work contexts. This methodological rigor will contribute significantly to the validity and reliability of the research findings. Data collection. According to Bussetto et al. 2020, in qualitative research, the choice of data collection instruments and techniques played an integral role in ensuring the data's depth, richness, and credibility. Qualitative research data collection is a systematic process of gathering data from various sources on a specific topic for research. Bussetto et al. 2020. Collecting data from several sources was used to find answers to research problems. Loeb et al. 2020. Bussetto et al. 2020 reported that semi-structured interviews and organizational documents were among the most common methods of collecting data. According to Jones and Don Moyer, 2021, semi-structured interviews were the most common source for collecting qualitative data. Choosing a suitable data collection method was the key to getting reliable and valid research data. Zhang, 2021. Data collection plan. Semi-structured interviews are the primary data source, providing rich, in-depth insights from individuals in remote leadership roles. Surveys and organizational archived data supplement the primary data, offering broader perspectives and contextual background. Targeting leaders with at least 1 year in their role and non-supervisory remote workers with similar tenure ensures a knowledgeable and experienced participant base. Confidentiality and anonymity are appropriately prioritized, with coded labels used to protect participant identities. Flexibility in conducting interviews. Zoom et al. Face-to-face accommodates participant preferences and geographical constraints, with dual recording mechanisms ensuring accuracy. Employing multiple data sources, interviews, surveys, documents, adds depth to the analysis and strengthens the validity of the findings. The data collection plan and choice of instruments are well thought out and articulate a clear path to achieving the research objectives. Semi-structured interviews, surveys, and archival data collection enable a comprehensive exploration of knowledge sharing in remote teams. The study is positioned to provide valuable insights into the dynamics of remote team leadership and knowledge management by employing a mix of data collection methods and ensuring ethical rigor in the approach. This multifaceted approach enriches the data and reinforces the trustworthiness and relevance of the research findings. Instruments. According to Pri et al. 2022, the instruments chosen for data collection played a critical role in shaping the validity, reliability, and depth of insights derived from a study. Data collection instruments were tools or mechanisms that facilitated the systematic data gathering. Pri et al. 2022. In the context of qualitative research, the researcher often assumes the role of the primary instrument. Yin, 2018. The nature of the data needed deeply influenced the choice of instrument, the context in which the data was collected, and the subsequent utility of this data within the research framework. Roberts, 2020. The interview guide consisted of open-ended questions aligning with the research objectives, allowing participants to share their experiences and perspectives freely. Surveys used open-ended questions to complement interviews by capturing a broader range of experiences across a larger group, enhancing the comprehensiveness of the data. Reviewing organizational documents provides historical and contextual insights, supporting the triangulation process. Data analysis. Researchers use data analysis to check enormous amounts of data by reducing the volume of information, identifying patterns, and creating a framework for data interpretation. Popeno et al., 2021. Qualitative analysis, especially in a single case study, requires meticulous attention to detail, reflexivity, and consistency. Wolf et al., 2019. The core objective of qualitative analysis was derived from vast amounts of descriptive data, whether from interviews, archived documents, or surveys. Wolf et al., 2019. The approach to data analysis and qualitative research on knowledge sharing in remote teams is appropriately designed to elicit deep, contextually rich insights. It incorporates best practices in qualitative research, ensuring that the findings are valid, reliable, and relevant to the research objectives. Thematic analysis, one of the most used methods in qualitative research, emphasizes identifying and analyzing such themes. Williams and Moser, 2019. This methodology transcended mere description and sought to provide a nuanced understanding of the data. Through an inductive approach, Themes emerged from the data rather than pre-existing hypotheses, and the research remained grounded in participants' perspectives and experiences. Williams and Moser, 2019. This was particularly aligned with constructivism, a theoretical stance that acknowledged the role of human interpretation in knowledge creation. Constructivism posits that the understanding of the world is shaped by experiences and interactions. Kieker and Barpio, 2020. Hence, thematic analysis, primarily when underpinned by a constructivist lens, provided rich, contextually rooted insights into the research topic, ensuring that identified themes correspond with the research questions and objectives for cohesive and relevant insight. Combining narratives and direct quotes to present findings transparently and coherently showcases the richness of qualitative data. Initial reading and rereading of data, transcripts, surveys, documents, to understand and identify patterns. Systematic labeling of data sections to categorize and structure the data using Vivl 2 software. Recognizing repetitive patterns and concepts that emerge as significant themes. Adjusting and merging initial themes, removing unsupported ones, and finalizing themes with clear definitions. Triangulation in qualitative research refers to using multiple methods or data sources to study a research problem, thereby enhancing the reliability and validity of the findings. Nightingale, 2020. According to Nightingale, 2020, triangulation in research increases the likelihood of finding accurate results, presents a more comprehensive picture of the issue under investigation, and explores multiple interpretations of the topic. Methodological triangulation was used. Methodological triangulation in qualitative research is a strategic approach where researchers use multiple methods or data sources to study a single research topic or phenomenon. Farquhar et al., 2020. In-depth interviews are the primary data source, providing rich individual perspectives and experiences and achieving data saturation through interviews, ensuring a comprehensive exploration of the topic and integrating findings from semi-structured interviews, surveys, and archival data for multidimensional analysis and identifying consistent themes across different methods and uncovering any divergent views. Reliability and validity. In qualitative research, establishing trustworthiness was paramount to ensuring that findings accurately captured participants' perspectives and experiences. Rose and Johnson, 2020. Reliability. Reliability in qualitative research refers to the consistency and dependability of the research processes and findings. Collingridge and Gant, 2019. Strategies like using a case study protocol ensure that data collection and analysis procedures are standardized and replicable. Reliability measures the consistency of outcomes over time and encompasses a particular fixed notion of stability of the results found that may be repetitive. Shurku and Maslaxi, 2020. For a study to be considered reliable, it should have been possible for another researcher to replicate it using the same methodology and derive similar results. Moser and Korstjans, 2018. Trustworthiness is central to the credibility of qualitative findings. Implementing an external audit enhances the dependability of the research, providing an objective assessment of consistency and accuracy. Member checking allows participants to verify the accuracy of the data and the researcher's interpretations. Reflective journaling documents the research process and decision-making, enhancing transparency and introspection. Validity. Validity concerns the authenticity and accuracy of the findings and whether the research measures what it intends to. Patino and Ferreira, 2018. An important aspect of validity was ensuring the study measured what it was intended to measure. Cypress, 2017. The validity of a case study was important, as it determined whether the findings truly reflected the phenomenon under study. Addressing construct validity, internal validity, and external validity is essential in case studies. Credibility, akin to internal validity in quantitative research, assesses the believability of findings from participants' viewpoints. Triangulation using multiple data sources corroborates evidence, enhancing credibility. Member checking validates the findings by ensuring alignment with participants' experiences. Conformability is achieved by acknowledging and documenting the researcher's biases, contributing to the study's neutrality. Transferability involves selecting participants with diverse experiences to provide a comprehensive understanding of the phenomenon. Detailed descriptions of the research context and participants allow for assessing the extent to which findings can be transferred to other contexts. Findings. An in-depth analysis of leading remote organizations, strategies for managing effective knowledge sharing in remote teams led to the development of this study. A thorough academic literature review explored the complexities of knowledge-sharing management within remotely dispersed teams. The data was collected through 16 semi-structured interviews, 23 surveys, and 5 organizational documents. It was carefully sorted and organized. The themes discovered included: A. Remote teams' challenges in managing knowledge sharing and communication. B. Consequences of lack of effective knowledge management and sharing in remote teams. C. Decreased productivity and increased team member turnover in remote teams. D. Benefits of effective knowledge sharing. E. Effective leadership and trust. F. Strategies for effective knowledge sharing and management. And G. Training and development for knowledge sharing and collaboration in remote teams. The 7 themes discovered in the research findings precisely related to the research questions and included several datasets consistent with the literature review and research framework. The research findings address the general and specific problem of the potential lack of strategies leaders use for effective communication to manage knowledge sharing in remote teams in the defense industry located in the National Capital Region metropolitan area, resulting in increased turnover and lower productivity by revealing multiple strategies that leaders could utilize. Van Zunen et al. 2021 mentioned that organizational communication value and communication strategies had affected remote work productivity, and a downshift in team performance has been a consequence. The leaders who participated in the study shared insights into their unique challenges, including maintaining an updated and accessible knowledge base, fostering trust in a remote setting, and ensuring equitable participation in knowledge sharing. The findings were used to shed light on leaders' challenges in managing knowledge-sharing communication, such as information silos, human resistance, and miscommunication. These challenges focused on areas where there may have been a lack of effective strategies. By linking the absence of proper knowledge-sharing strategies with adverse outcomes such as decreased productivity and higher employee turnover, the findings provided practical evidence of the problem's impact on organizational effectiveness. The research findings presented leaders' essential role in promoting and fostering knowledge sharing within remote teams. Leaders were found to be vital in setting the tone, choosing the tools, and creating the conditions that enabled effective knowledge sharing. The findings suggested strategies that leaders implemented to enhance knowledge sharing communication. These included using shared platforms, developing standard operating procedures, employing task management systems, and implementing team-building exercises. The study indicated that managing knowledge sharing required a focus on the human aspect, involving trust building, understanding individual behaviors, and encouraging open communication. The research showed how transformational leadership practices valued engagement, continuous learning, and open dialogue overcame challenges in managing knowledge sharing, thus mitigating the problem of increased turnover and lower productivity. The findings for this case study address the purpose of this qualitative case study, which identified the factors that organizational leaders use to influence effective knowledge sharing and information flow among remote teams in the defense industry located in the National Capital Region. The findings of the qualitative case study addressed the research questions and provided an understanding of leaders' roles, challenges, and effective strategies in managing knowledge sharing among remote teams. The alignment with the research questions showed that the study's findings focused on the research problem, offering conceptual insights and actionable solutions related to knowledge sharing, productivity, and retention in remote organizational contexts. The qualitative approach contributed depth to the understanding, making the findings highly relevant to the defense industry. Discussions. Implementing professional practices could improve job satisfaction and the work environment of organizations. Blumhoff et al. 2021. Data collected, analyzed, and presented could also be applied to general leadership professional practices. The general problem addressed within this research study was the lack of strategies for effective communication to manage knowledge sharing among remote teams, resulting in increased turnover and lower productivity. The application to professional practice provided an overview of the potential application of the study's findings for understanding the factors contributing to the lack of effective communication strategies among leaders in remote organizations necessary to manage knowledge sharing for successful team collaboration. The research study was conducted to identify the factors that geographically dispersed organizational leaders use to manage effective knowledge sharing among remote teams. According to Bussetto et al. 2020, studying nature involves identifying factors and assessing their implications from different perspectives. NVIVA was used for coding analysis. According to Samawe, 2015, NVIVA was compatible with most research designs because it was not methodologically specific, and the existence of NVIVA made it more compatible with approaches such as thematic analysis. The rise of using remote teams derived from several obstacles, including leaders' lack of expertise in managing information. Cords, 2017. With the number of remote organizations increasing, leaders should regularly evaluate communication strategies best suited for their organization for successful knowledge transfer. The following paragraphs discussed improving general leadership practices from the study's results and the potential implementation of strategies leaders could leverage based on the findings. Leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the success of organizations across different industries. Campbell et al., 2020. Understanding general leadership practices, emerging trends, and challenges was essential for individuals aspiring to become effective leaders and for organizations looking to improve their overall performance. The lack of communication strategies to manage knowledge sharing in remote teams was challenging, but addressing the complex challenges improved general leadership practice. According to Bansakuti, 2021, understanding and resolving issues could improve leadership practices. Limitations. The study's focus on a specific organization and small sample size might limit the generalizability of the findings. Employing rigorous data analysis and acknowledging this constraint in the findings are key strategies. The varied locations of participants may affect the uniformity of data collected. Utilizing technology to mitigate geographical barriers and understanding each location's unique context is essential. Leaders' self-reported strategies might be subject to bias. Ensuring anonymity and using methodological triangulation can help mitigate this limitation. Delimitations. Concentrating on a particular organization within the defense industry in Northern Virginia narrows the scope of the study. This focus provides in-depth insights but limits the broader application of findings. Choosing a small, geographically dispersed workforce of under 100 employees delimits the study to a specific type of organizational structure. This decision provides a focused exploration but may not reflect dynamics in larger or differently structured organizations. Focusing on leaders who have developed effective knowledge-sharing strategies narrows the inquiry to a specific aspect of leadership. This approach yields detailed insights into successful strategies but may overlook challenges faced by leaders who struggle with knowledge sharing. Recommendations for further study. The topic explored in this research study was leading remote organizations, strategies for managing knowledge sharing in remote teams. Based on the study findings, further areas should be studied. The analysis of these findings suggests areas for future research, including the long-term effects of knowledge-sharing strategies, leadership styles on remote team productivity, and the impact of organizational culture on knowledge sharing. Further research in these areas would contribute to a better understanding of leading remote organizations and provide insights into managing effective knowledge-sharing strategies in remote teams. The recommendations for further study of the leadership styles on remote team productivity and the impact of organizational culture on knowledge sharing. The research findings from these sources serve as valuable references for developing recommendations for further study. Leadership styles on remote team productivity. Different leadership styles, structures, and practices significantly influence the dynamics of knowledge sharing in remote teams. Hussain et al., 2018. Given the profound influence of leadership styles on remote team productivity, future research could dissect and study individual leadership styles in more depth. While transformational leadership has been explored, other styles like servant, autocratic, and democratic leadership might have varied implications for remote team dynamics. By studying these styles individually, insights into their unique advantages and downsides in remote environments may be gained. My study revealed that leadership significantly fostered a conducive knowledge-sharing environment and communication in remote teams. All the participants who participated in the interviews were always available to help and guide their teams during knowledge-sharing challenges. P8 stated that he always asked his team how he could help them succeed. This style delves into servant leadership and how this leadership style influences team dynamics in a remote setting. A project productivity report provided by a study participant showed a pattern that emerged where a portion of the team that worked individually remotely with minimal supervision had varied productivity results. The report summary showed that individuals with infrequent check-ins and a hands-off approach outperformed those who worked as a team and had frequent oversight. This style examined laissez-faire leadership and whether this leadership style could be beneficial or detrimental. The recommendations of leadership styles on remote team productivity stem directly from the study findings, ensuring that future research remained anchored to real-world challenges and opportunities. Understanding the relationship between leadership styles and remote team productivity could contribute to developing effective leadership strategies. Organizations developed strategies that enhance collaboration, innovation, and organizational success by emphasizing the importance of leadership styles and productivity. Cortellazzo et al., 2019. An in-depth analysis of different leadership styles could further the understanding of their applicability and productivity in remote team contexts. As remote work often brings together individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds, it is imperative to understand how cultural dimensions intersect with leadership styles. Smith and Ruiz, 2020. This could include studying how leadership preferences vary across cultures and how these preferences influence remote team productivity. Leadership approaches affect communication patterns, information flow, and productivity. Hussein et al., 2018. Liu and Meyer, 2018, hinted at the rising importance of tailored leadership development initiatives. Future research could evaluate the effectiveness of leadership training programs tailored to remote team contexts. This involved understanding which aspects of leadership training contribute most to the success of remote teams. Impact CF organizational culture on knowledge sharing. The impact of organizational culture on knowledge sharing played a significant role in deciding how knowledge was disseminated among its members. Sawan et al., 2021. As remote work often brings together individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds, it was imperative to understand how cultural dimensions intersect with leadership styles. An organization's culture functions as a lens through which its members view knowledge sharing. Sawan et al., 2021. The organization's culture decided whether knowledge was seen as power, a collective resource, or something. Understanding and nurturing the right cultural attributes was crucial for organizations that fostered a robust knowledge-sharing environment. The study touched on the influences of organizational culture on knowledge sharing. The findings from this study provided a foundational understanding of the relationship between organizational culture and knowledge sharing. However, the complex interplay of several factors suggests these areas that merit further exploration. During an interview elaboration on a culture of openness and knowledge sharing, where in their team, it was always an open-door policy, even remotely. It was stated that they have never hesitated to share or ask for information. This suggested a culture of openness. Another interviewee acknowledged an Ideas Champion Award in their team. This showed a culture that recognizes and rewards knowledge sharing. By diving deeper into these recommended areas, future research could offer more granulated insights and actionable strategies for organizations to foster a culture that champions effective knowledge sharing. However, within large organizations, multiple subcultures often exist based on departments, teams, or even project groups. These subcultures may have their dynamics, beliefs, and knowledge-sharing practices. It would be beneficial to explore how these subcultures play a role in the broader spectrum of knowledge sharing. Exploring how diverse cultural dynamics influence knowledge sharing provided insights into fostering a unified organizational culture. Mathrani and Edwards, 2020, suggested that cross-cultural nuances influenced knowledge-sharing behaviors. While there was a general organizational approach to knowledge sharing, there were often distinctions and variations in practices within smaller groups. These distinctions could significantly affect overall organizational knowledge sharing and include studying how leadership preferences vary across cultures and how these preferences influence remote team productivity. The study findings also showed that trust and cohesion were pivotal for remote team success. Understanding the cultural context became vital as cultural norms and values influenced trust. Guineu and Jordan, 2016, emphasized the importance of understanding cultural nuances and tailoring leadership approaches. Internal organizational culture plays a pivotal role in knowledge sharing. External factors like market competition, industry standards, and regulatory environments also influence an organization's approach to knowledge sharing. A study examining these external factors and internal culture provided valuable insights. My study touched upon the internal dynamics of organizations. However, external pressures and environments shape how knowledge is shared and used. Mathrani and Edwards, 2020, suggested that culture was integral to the transparent sharing of knowledge across remote teams to get effective information from leaders to team members. Conclusion. An emphasis in this study was placed on identifying effective strategies for managing knowledge sharing within teams, as well as exploring the strategic facets of leading remote organizations. The digital expanse propelled the shift to remote working frameworks, which redefined traditional organizational structures. While this transition presented great opportunities, it also showed the significant challenges in fostering an environment conducive to knowledge sharing and collaborative learning. It was discovered that leadership played a crucial role in navigating remote organizations, ensuring a seamless flow of knowledge despite geographical distances between teams. During the investigation, several strategic interventions were identified that were important to developing a robust knowledge-sharing culture in remote teams. The key to cultivating a knowledge-rich organizational environment was fostering transformative leaders capable of fostering trust, instilling shared visions, and fostering open communication. Enhancing the effectiveness of knowledge management required establishing clear communication channels, leveraging modern technology tools, and encouraging a culture of continuous learning and adaptation. Also, the importance of trust and organizational flexibility in enhancing knowledge-sharing practices was highlighted. Open dialogue and effective knowledge dissemination require trust fostered by transparency, empathy, and consistent engagement. Alternatively, organizational flexibility enabled the rapid assimilation of new insights and adaptability to ever-changing external variables. The relationship between effective knowledge-sharing mechanisms and improved organizational performance was also thoroughly examined. Through effective knowledge sharing, organizations harnessed collective intelligence to boost innovation, streamline operations, and enhance productivity. Leading remote organizations towards effective knowledge sharing requires a blend of transformative leadership, a culture of trust, open communication channels, and a flexible organizational structure. These findings offer leaders and organizations a blueprint for fostering a fertile ground for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and sustained organizational growth in remote organizations. The strategies described in this study provided a roadmap for leveraging collective intellect, driving innovation, and propelling organizations toward achieving their objectives as remote organizations expand. References: Al Harvey, J. A. Alarify, S., and Mosbaugh, A. 2019. Transformation Leadership and Creativity. Personnel Review, 48-5, 1082-1099. https://doi.org/10.1108/PRLL 2017-0354. Ali, B.J., Anwar, G., Gardi, Bey, Othman, B.J., Aziz, H.M., Ahmed, S.A., Sabir, B.Y., 2021. Business Communication Strategies, Analysis of Internal Communication Processes. Journal CF Humanities and Education Development, 3-3, 16-38. https://doi.org/10.22161/jed.3.3.4. Banzakuti, A. 2021. The Path Goal Theory of Leadership. Academia Letters, 748. https://doi.org/10.20935/Al748. Blumhoff, J., Noel, J., Van Rijn, M., and Burman, B.M., 2021. The Implementation of a Professional Practice Model to Improve the Nurse Work Environment in a Dutch Hospital, a Quasi-Experimental Study. Journal CF Advanced Nursing, 7712, 4919-4934. https://doi.org/10. il1/jan. 15052. Braslauskas, J. 2020. Effective Creative Intercultural Communication in the Context of Business Interaction, Theoretical and Practical Aspects. Creativity Studies, 73-1, 199-215. https://doi.org/10.3846/cs.2020.120994. Breuer, C., Huffmeier, J., Hibben, F., and Hurdle, G. 2019. Trust in Teams, A Taxonomy of Perceived Trustworthiness Factors and Risk-Taking Behaviors in Face-to-Face and Remote Teams. Human Relations, 73-1, Article 0018726718818872. https://doi.org/10.1177 out of 00187267188188721. Bussetto, L., Wick, W., and Gumbinger, C. 2020. How to use and assess qualitative research methods. Neurological Research and Practice, 2-1, 1-10. BMC. https://doi.org/10.1186/S4246602000059Z. Campbell, S., Phillips, South Carolina, and Phillips, D. 2020. Lack of communication between management and employees. S1 ASAT, 4-3, 32-39. ResearchGate. https://doi.org/10.33258/sciasat.v4i3.67. Collingridge, D.S., and Gant, E. 2019. The Quality of Qualitative Research. American Journal CF Medical Quality, 34-5, 439-445. https://doi.org/10.1177 out of 1,62,860,619,873,187. Cords, S. 2017. Share, and not, share alike, Improving Virtual Team Climate and Decision Performance. Journal CF Interactive Learning Research, 28-1, 29-48. Retrieved from https://www.learntoclib.org/primary/p/L51743/. Cortellazzo, L., Bruni, E., and Zampieri, R. 2019. The Role of Leadership in a Digitalized World, a Review. Frontiers in Psychology, 10, Article 1938. https://doi.org/10.3389/fsig.2019.01938. Cypress, B.S., 2017. Rigor, Reliability, and Validity in Qualitative Research, Perspectives, Strategies, Reconceptualization, and Recommendations. Dimensions CF Critical Care Nursing, 36-4, 253,263. https://doi.org/10.1097/dcc.00000000000000253. David Avishyan, V., Almajzoub, K., and Majid Kavaliauskin, I. 2020. Factors Affecting Knowledge Sharing in Virtual Teams. Sustainability, 12 VT, 6917. https://doi.org/10.3390/Sool2176917. Durrani, K.M., Abadi, M., Alizadeh, A., Barhat, B., Garza, R.C., Gunasakara, N., Mitchson, Z. 2020. Leadership Competencies and the Essential Role of Human Resource Development in Times of Crisis, a Response to COVID-19 Pandemic. Human Resource Development International, 23-4, 380-394. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 136788668.2020.1780078. Eisenberg, J., Post, C., and Di Tommaso, N. 2019. Team Dispersion and Performance, the Role of Team Communication and Transformational Leadership. Small Group Research, 53, 104,649,641,982,737. SagePub. https://d0i.0rg/l0.1177 out of 1,046,496,419,827,376. Farquhar, J., Michels, N., and Robson, J. 2020. Triangulation in Industrial Qualitative Case Study Research, Widening the Scope. Industrial Marketing Management, 87, 160-170. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.indmarman.2020.02.001. Flax, C., Hoko, Ka, and Stricker, L. 2017. Clear Expectations, Communication, and Flexibility, Unlocking the potential of an education department through a non-traditional staffing structure. Journal CF Museum Education, 42-4, 314-322. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 1059865.2017.1371518. Garo Abarca, V., Paulo Sanchez, P., and Aguayo Camacho, M. 2021, February 17. Remote teams in times of pandemic, factors that influence performance. Frontiers in Psychology, 12, Article 624637. https://doi.org/10.3389/fsig.2021.624637. George, V., and Massey, L. 2020. Proactive Strategy to Improve Staff Engagement. Nurse Leader, 78-6. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.mnl.2020.08.008. Guinelliu, M., and Jordan, P. 2016. Building Trust in the Leader of Remote Work Teams. Spanish Journal CF Marketing, ESSEC, 21, 58-70. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.reamp.2016.01.003. Han, S.J., Chai, C., Mako, P., Park, W., and Byerline, M. 2017. How Remote Team Leaders Cope with Creative Challenges. European Journal CF Training and Development, 41-3, 261-276. https://doi.org/10.1108 out of 10.2016.0073. Hussain, S.T., Lay, S., Akram, T., Hyder, M., J., Hussain, S.H., and Ali, M. 2018. Kurt Lewin's Change Model, a critical review of the role of leadership and employee involvement in organizational change. Journal CF Innovation and Knowledge, 3-3, 123-127. Science Direct. https://doi.org/10.1016/chick.2016.07.002. Highlandwood, B., Gardner, J., Leask, J., and Ecker, UKH, 2021. Toward Effective Government Communication Strategies in the Era of COVID-19. Humanities and Social Sciences Communications, 8-1, Article 30. https://doi.org/10.1057/S4159902000701W. Kayworth, T.R., and Ladner, D.E., 2002. Leadership Effectiveness in Global Remote Teams. Journal CF Management Information Systems, 78-3, 7-40. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 0742122.2002.11045669. Keeker, M.E., and Varpio, L. 2020. Thematic Analysis of Qualitative Data. Medical Teacher, 42%, 1-9. NCBI. https://doi.org/0.1080/1421599x.2020.1755030. Kim, M. Tochka H., and Yi, Y. J. 2018. Impact of Leader-Member Exchange and Team-Member Exchange on Nurses' Job Satisfaction and Turnover Intention. International Nursing Review, 66-2. https://doi.org/10.1111/nr. 12491. Krull, E., H., and Butkin, M. 2022. Uncovering the Complexities of Remote Leadership and the Usage of Digital Tools During the COVID-19 Pandemic, a Qualitative Diary Study. German Journal CF Human Resource Management, Zeitschrift für Personenforschung, 36-3, 239,222,210,836. https://doi.org/10.1177 out of 23,970,022,221,083,697. Liu, H., and Lee, G. 2018. Linking transformational leadership and knowledge sharing, the mediating roles of perceived team goal commitment and perceived team identification. Frontiers in Psychology, 9. https://doi.org/10.3389/fsig.2018.01331. Liu, Y., and Meyer, K.E., 2018. Boundary Spanners, Herm Practices, and Reverse Knowledge Transfer, The Case of Chinese Cross-Border Acquisitions. Journal CF World Business, 55-100,958. https://doi.org/10.1016/jjwb.2018.07.007. Martinez Mesa, J., Gonzalez Chica, D.A., DeQuia, R.P., Bonamigo, R.R., and Bastos, J.L., 2016. Sampling, How to Select Participants in My Research Study. Anais Brasileiros de Dermatologia, 91-3, 326-330. https://doi.org/10.1590/adlaide064841.201652554. Mathrani, S., and Edwards, B., 2020. Knowledge Sharing Strategies in Distributed Collaborative Product Development. Journal CF Open Innovation, Technology, Market, and Complexity, 6-4-194. https://doi.org/10.3390/joitmc60401994. Moser, A., and Korstjens, I., 2018. Series, Practical Guidance to Qualitative Research. Part 3, Sampling, Data Collection, and Analysis. European Journal CF General Practice, 24-1, 9-18. TNDEF Online. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 1381478.2017.1375091. Newman, S.A., Fort, R.C., and Marshall, G.W., 2020. Virtual Team Leader Communication, Employee Perception and Organizational Reality. International Journal CF Business Communication, 57-4, 452-473. https://doi.org/10. 177,229,488,419,829,895. Nightingale, A.J., 2020. Triangulation. International Encyclopedia CF Human Geography, 24, 477-480. https://doi.org/10.1016/B978-0-08-102295, 5.10437-8. Nisar, T.M., Prabhakar, G., and Strikova, L., 2019. Social Media Information Benefits, Knowledge Management, and Smart Organizations. Journal CF Business Research, 94, 264-272. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.spacers.2018.05.005. Park, R. 2017. Exploring the link between top-down information sharing and organizational performance, the moderating role of flexible manufacturing strategy. Human Resource Management Journal, 27-4, 598-613. https://doi.org/10.llll/1748-8583.12142. Patino, C.M., and Ferreira, J.C., 2018. Internal and External Validity, Can You Apply Research Study Results to Your Patients? Journal Brasileiro de Pneumologia, 44-3, 183-183. https://doi.org/0.1890/S1806-37 Popenoe, R., Lanyasekloff, A., Stanwall, E., and Gervais, A., 2021. A Practical Guide to Data Analysis in General Literature Reviews. Nordic Journal CF Nursing Research, 41-4, 175-186. https://doi.org/10.1177 out of 2,057,158,521,991,949. Priya, G.L., Rajesh Kumar, S., Gamadi, A.S., and Sindhu, R. 2022. A Comprehensive Survey of Data Collection Methods and Tools for Research Novices. APE Conference Proceedings, 2444-1. https://doi.org/10.1063 out of 5.0078971. Quisenberry, W.L., 2018. Exploring how emotional intelligence contributes to virtual teams, interpretive analysis of a phenomenological study. European Scientific Journal, ESJ, 14/5, 19. https://doi.org/10.19044/s.2018.bl4n5pl9. Roberts, R. 2020. Qualitative Interview Questions, Guidance for Novice Researchers. The Qualitative Report, 25/9. https://doi.org/10.46743 out of 2160 to 3715 2020.4640. Rose, J., and Johnson, C.W., 2020. Contextualizing Reliability and Validity in Qualitative Research, Toward More Rigorous and Trustworthy Qualitative Social Science in Leisure Research. Journal CF Leisure Research, 51/4, 1-20. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 002222116.2020.1722042. Sawan, E., Suryati, A., and Nuritadak M., 2021. Impact of Organizational Culture on Knowledge-Sharing Behavior. Proceedings CF the 4th International Core, Ference on Research CF Educational Administration and Management, ICREAM 202G. https://doi.org/10.2991/asr.k.210212.073. Sinquiz Diaz, C., and Ortiz Soto, M., 2019. A Multifold Perspective of Knowledge Sharing in Virtual Teams, The Development of an MOI Model. Journal CF Technology Management and Innovation, 14/2, 88-96. https://doi.org/10.4067/s0718-27 Siangcho Q, N, Klinger, R.L., and Campion, ed. 2019. Follower transformation is the linchpin of transformational leadership theory, a systematic review and future research agenda. The Leadership Quarterly, 37/1, 101,341. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.liqua.2019.101341. Smith, S.M., and Ruiz, J. 2020. Challenges and Barriers in Virtual Teams, a Literature Review. SN Applied Sciences, 2/6. Springer, https://doi.org/10.1007/s4245202028001-5. Sumer, Z. 2020. A Framework for Building and Maintain Trust in Remote and Virtual Teams. Flaw or Research, 9, 1187. https://doi.org/10.12688/AFRLO00research.26626. Steinman, Bay, Klug, H.J.P., and Meyer, G.W., 2019. The Path is the Goal, How Transformational Leaders Enhance Followers' Job Attitudes and Proactive Behavior. Frontiers in Psychology, 9 2338. NCBI. https://doi.org/10.3389/psig.2018.02338. Shuriku, L., and Mislaxi, A., 2020. Validity and Reliability in Quantitative Research. Business and Management Studies, an International Journal, 8/3, 2694-2726. https://doi.org/10.15295/mij.v8i3.1540. Van Ruler, B., 2018. Communication theory, an underrated pillar on which strategic communication rests. International Journal CF Strategic Communication, 12-4, 367-381. https://doi.org/10.1080/15531118x.2018.145220. Van Zunen, W., Shivunen, A., Blomqvist, K., Olsen, T., Ropinen, A., Hentinen, K., and Varshinen, M. 2021. Factors influencing adjustment to remote work, employees' initial responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. International Journal CF Environmental Research and Public Health, 1813, 6966. https://doi.org/10.3390/airflight136966. Vasileu, K., Barnett, J., Thorpe, S., and Young, T. 2018. Characterizing and justifying sample size sufficiency in interview-based studies, systematic analysis of qualitative health research over a 15-year period. BMC Medical Research Methodology, 18-1, 1-18. https://doi.org/10.1186/SL2874018-0594-7. Velasco Villa, A., Escobar, L.E., Sanchez, A., Shi, M., Strieger, D.G., Gallardo Romero, N.F. Emerson, G. 2017. Successful strategies implemented towards the elimination of canine rabies in the Western Hemisphere. Antiviral Research, 143, 1-12. https://doi.org/0.101b/j. Antiviral.2017.03.023. Williams, M., and Moser, T. 2019. The Art of Coding and Thematic Exploration in Qualitative Research. International Management Review, 75-1, 45-55, 71-72. Retrieved from https://go.openathens.net/redirector/liberty.edu. URL = https://www.proquest.com/scholarlyjournals/art coding thematic exploration qualitative/doc view/22108864220/say2. Wolf, B., Mahoney, E., Lohineva, A.L., and Corkum, M. 2019. Collecting and Analyzing Qualitative Data. The CDC Field Epidemiology Manual, pages 213-228. https://doi.org/10.1093/0/97801933692-003-0010. Yin, R.K., 2018. Case Study Research and Applications, Design and Methods, 6th ed. Sage Publications. Zamawe, E., 2015. The Implication of Using Vivo Software in Qualitative Data Analysis, Evidence-Based Reflections. Malawi Medical Journal, 27-1, 13. https://doi.org/10.4314/mmj.v27el4. Zhang, Y., 2021. Book Review, Data Collection Research Methods in Applied Linguistics. Frontiers in Psychology, 12. https://doi.org/10.3389/psig.2021.668712. Abstract. In recent years, there has been a lack of attention to the connection between crisis management and the HR, Human Resources, Department. However, many researchers emphasize the importance of the Human Resources Department in crisis management. The main objective of the research is the analysis of employees' perceptions regarding measures to improve decision-making when considering the behavior of human capital and in terms of maximizing economic efficiency, as well as the analysis of human resources management through the lens of policies and practices intended for management in crisis period. The quantitative method was used to conduct a survey and the qualitative method was used through the interview. These methods were based on aspects developed in the specialized literature and adapted for this context. The results of the study show that human resources management is crucial in Romanian companies, both in a normal context and in critical situations, highlighting a strategic approach to the role of employees in organizational success. Keywords. Human resources, Romania, maximizing economic efficiency, management crisis, human resources management. G classification. H12,124,015. Introduction. According to modern literature, the traditional role of the Human Resources (HR) department has evolved significantly, moving from recruiting and hiring staff to assuming complex key roles to improve organizational performance. This change requires expanded knowledge and skills from HR to meet the needs of the organization, especially in crisis period. HR is now crucial in anticipating, identifying, preventing and managing potential crises, establishing plans to manage them, even in the absence of crisis situations. Athemne, 2018. The topic of human capital management in organizations and the relationship between human resource management practices and company performance has developed over time. The results demonstrate that there is a positive relationship, including from the perspective of introducing strategies and innovation. Piwar Sulj, 2021. Organizations should implement certain well-established procedures to determine who are the right people to fulfill the objectives. Therefore, it shouldn't be inferred that a company with extensive quantities of material resources will easily manage and achieve its goals. The definition of human resource consists of the combination of skills and competencies that, put together, give value to the company. Pham et al., 2021. Improving human resource strategies does not only have an effect on employees, but is also an important aspect for the company's reputation. Shurdu et al., 2020. The purpose of the research is to analyze employees' perceptions regarding measures to improve decision-making when considering the behavior of human capital in a crisis period in terms of maximizing economic efficiency as well as human resources management through the lens of policies and practices aimed at managing a crisis situation. Crises present unusual opportunities to demonstrate management flexibility, teamwork strengths, organizational resilience, and even business strategies. Nizamadou and Bouzis, 2021. Implementing a coherent mix of internal human resource management policies and practices has a significant impact on organizational performance. Human resources contribute to increased production performance, firm performance, capability, motivation, and business results. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought unique and unprecedented challenges, requiring a new framework for simultaneously managing the various levels of human resource involvement. Adikaram et al., 2021. Human resource management during the COVID-19 pandemic, from the perspective of safety measures, decreased demand, and government restrictions have created significant problems for companies, including layoffs and disruptions in supply chains. Adikaram et al., 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused organizations to fundamentally reevaluate how they manage their human resources in the early and intermediate stages of a crisis. These phases are characterized by high levels of uncertainty, both during the crisis and afterwards, as organizations and employees adapt to the new normal and sometimes return to the pre-crisis context. Newman et al., 2023. However, crises provide opportunities to highlight management flexibility, teamwork, and organizational resilience. Given the increasingly frequent crises, it is essential to address them proactively, because an organizational crisis is an event that threatens the viability of the organization. Nizamadou and Bouzis, 2021. The HR department has a vital role in protecting an organization's human capital and ensuring that employees remain valuable even after a crisis. Athemne, 2018. Organizations have revised their work procedures and structures to manage the unprecedented changes brought about by the prolonged lockdowns, with the aim of adapting and providing support to employees in managing stress. Therefore, in various sectors, organizations have invested heavily in implementing human resource management strategies. It has become crucial for all organizations to adopt best practices with the objective of surviving times of crisis and become more resilient. Dubey et al., 2024. This research focuses on the role of human resources policies and practices in planning the activity and training employees to manage crises while maximizing economic efficiency. The study investigates the function of HR as an integral part of crisis management and aims to highlight the importance of this role and how HR is responsible for ensuring that the organization is well prepared and that staff are properly trained to deal with crises of any type. Therefore, the study is organized based on 3 research questions. RQ1, is the human resource perceived as an important resource for Romanian companies? 2. RQ2, Is human resource an important factor for maximizing economic efficiency in Romanian companies? 3. RQ3. What are the measures taken by Romanian companies regarding the management of human resources in crisis period, through the lens of policies and practices? This study uses both quantitative research method through a questionnaire and qualitative research method through the interview. A number of 48 respondents from various fields of activity participated at the questionnaire, while to validate the collected data, 2 interviews with human resources managers who have experience in crisis management were conducted. The aspects addressed through the questionnaire are organized by items included in distinct sections of the questionnaire. These aim at the respondents' perception regarding the importance that the company in which they work gives to the management of human resources, from various perspectives, maximizing economic efficiency through specific policies and practices during crisis period, the level of the preparation of the human resources management in crisis period, and the company's attitude on how to prevent crises. It is anticipated that the results of this research will validate the perception that the human resource is recognized as an essential component for companies in Romania and represents a crucial factor in achieving organizational success. In addition, the need to pay special attention to the human resources management is emphasized, regardless of whether it is addressed in typical conditions or in periods of crisis. This research focuses on identifying gaps in the specialized literature related to maximizing economic efficiency through human resource management, with an emphasis on improving decision-making processes in crisis period. By addressing these aspects, the study makes significant contributions in 3 major directions: optimizing economic efficiency by highlighting the essential role of human resources, analyzing human resources management in critical periods, and identifying processes to improve decision-making in the context of crisis awareness. This research also proposes concrete solutions and practical guidelines to fill the gaps identified in the literature, providing a useful framework for informed and effective managerial decisions. The following sections of this research include: the second section discusses the theoretical elements and sets out the research questions of the study. The third section addresses the research methodology. The fourth section is related to the presentation of the results and their interpretation, and the last section contains the research conclusions, limitations, and future research proposals. Literature review. The importance that companies attribute to human resource management. In recent years, attention to the link between crisis management and human resources department, HRD, has increased, recognizing its importance in crisis management. Nizamadou and Bouzis, 2021. HRD plays a crucial role in protecting human capital and preparing employees to respond to future crises, strengthening the company's performance and competitive advantage. Adi Karam et al., 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has generated unprecedented corporate responsibility, and previous research highlights the increased importance of HR during crises, with the HR director playing a key role in organizational success during crises, along with the CFO, Plater et al., 2022. Managing human resources during crises has a significant impact on organizational performance, and flexible, efficient, and retention-oriented approaches are essential. Adi Karam et al., 2021. In the current context, the protection and training of employees is a priority, and human resources have a crucial role in ensuring their security and preparedness in the face of crises. HR has the responsibility to involve employees in business continuity planning and crisis management. Athemne, 2018. Therefore, given the approaches in previous literature, the first research question is: RQ1, is the human resource perceived as an important resource for Romanian companies? Maximizing economic efficiency through human resources. Leadership in times of crisis is essential, and COVID-19 has highlighted the importance of strategic leadership. Crisis can become an opportunity for organizations led by strategic leaders who turn challenges into competitive advantages. Strong leadership teams are essential for effective crisis management, and organizations that do not adapt may experience significant difficulties. Plater et al., 2022. Performance management is crucial in crisis situations, and aligning the organization's strategic goals with employee performance is vital. Communication, feedback, and maintaining employee performance are essential for survival during crises. Hamush, 2021. Human resource management strategies, as an integrated part of organizational management, influence companies' performance and innovation, generating a competitive advantage. Bouaziz and Hakacha, 2018. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought important changes in performance management due to complexity and novelty of the situation. Measuring the performance of employees, especially those working remotely, is difficult, and managers need to understand new challenges such as isolation, lack of communication, and occupational stressors. Hamush, 2021. In line with previous studies, and in order to cover the gaps of scarce consideration for companies in emerging countries during crisis period, the second research question is: RQ2, is human resource an important factor for maximizing economic efficiency in Romanian companies? Human resources management through the lens of policies and practices during crisis. Strategic human resource management involves the link between HR functions and organizational strategy, aiming at the effective use of human resources to achieve the organization's objectives. During crises, strategic agility is needed to adapt management policies and practices and to respond to new challenges. Hamush, 2021. Applying strategies related to personnel development and resources adjustment may help companies retain talent and minimize the negative impact of crises. In addition, crises may lead to organizational learning and the development of critical functions such as marketing and innovation for operational efficiency. Ma and Zhang, 2022. Maintaining and improving performance management processes are essential for companies during crises period. Companies should provide regular feedback to employees, evaluate performance, and pay special attention to compensation aiming to maintain and improve performance. Hamush, 2021. To cope with the crises, many companies have taken cost-cutting measures, including wage cuts and human resource restructuring. These measures may have significant consequences, and HR professionals need to manage the negative impact of these cost-cutting efforts. For example, companies have introduced wage cuts, delayed wage increases and eliminated bonuses to ensure savings. Adikaram et al., 2021. Therefore, the third research question is: RQ3. What are the measures taken by Romanian companies regarding the management of human resources in crisis period, through the lens of policies and practices? Research and methodology. The main objective of the research is to analyze and identify the process of improving decision-making when considering the behavior of human resources in crisis period under the conditions of maximizing economic efficiency. The data analysis methods employed for this research are frequency analysis of scores illustrating the perceptions of respondents for each research item, descriptive statistics shows mean and median scores. Also, in order to triangulate the result and provide evidence for their validity, the answers of interviews of 2 human resources managers are analyzed and discussed by comparison with the employees' perceptions. This study uses both quantitative and qualitative methods. The quantitative method was used to collect data based on a questionnaire, underlying aspects developed in the scientific literature. Adikaram et al., 2021, Bouaziz and Hakacha, 2018, Ma and Zhang, 2022, Nizamadou and Vuzas, 2021, and adapted to the objective of this research. The sections of the questionnaire include aspects aimed at the opinion of the respondents regarding the importance the company about the importance of human resources for the management, the maximization of economic efficiency through the human resource and the level of company's preparation of the organization in the management of human capital in crisis situations during crisis period, the company's attitude regarding how to prevent and identify management policies and practices that could help companies to face a crisis situation. Most of the items are measured on a 5-level scale, 1 equals to a very small extent, and 5 equals to a very large extent. The respondents could choose only 1 mark for each question. Also, for the management policies and practices section, a multiple-choice question was included to identify the specific approaches of companies during crisis period. The options for this question are: cost reduction, salary reduction, staff reduction, communication, support, motivation, commitment. In the second step, respondents provide demographic information such as gender, age, and job-related aspects about position, department, work experience, and industry. The questionnaire is designed based on the analysis of previous research. Adikaram et al., 2021, Bouaziz and Hakacha, 2018, Ma and Zhang, 2022, Nizamadou and Vuzas, 2021, on the company's management of human resources in crisis period. The research sample, presented in Table 1, consists of employees of Romanian companies, from various industries, with various positions in the company, CEO/General Manager, Department Manager, Manager, Supervisor, Executive Staff and other position. The targeted respondents are Romanian employees with various responsibilities in the company. Data was collected online in May 2023 using a Google Forms tool. The online form was chosen in order to benefit from its flexibility and functionality, as well as to reach the target audience efficiently, saving time. The questionnaire link was sent to respondents via email and via social networks, WhatsApp. Additionally, the participants were asked to share the link with their colleagues or staff members. The invitation included details of the study objectives, instructions for filling in the questionnaire, and confidentiality commitments. All respondents answered the questionnaire voluntarily. A number of 48 responses were recorded. The qualitative method was used in 2 interviews with HR managers who have experience and who have managed crisis situations. This method allows to analyze interviewees' experiences, providing a broader perspective on crisis management policies and practices. Similarly, Adikaram et al. 2021, review crisis management through human resource management and conclude that there are 3 closely interconnected elements to dealing with in a crisis period: employees' health and safety, cost reduction, and employees' motivation and engagement. The Human Resources Department has an important role in mitigating the effects of the crisis period, and through the procedures implemented by the management, the company can return to normality once the crisis is overpassed. This may provide the opportunity to develop competitive advantage and business excellence. Nizamadou and Bouzis, 2021. Table 2 shows the characteristics of the interviewees regarding work experience, organizational position, size of the company they are employed in and the industry the company belongs to. The interviewees were assigned identification codes to preserve their anonymity. HERM1 is the code for the human resources manager who is employed at a retail company and his work experience is 13 years. The company size HERM1 works for is large. The second human resources manager was assigned the code HERM2. He works in a company that provides dental medical services, the company size is medium, and his work experience is 12 years. Interviews are used to identify and analyze possible human resource management policies and practices regarding crisis management through managerial insight. The items used are similar in the interview and the questionnaire in order to have a coherent view on the research questions. Interview invitations were sent to managers by email, together with information about the objectives of data collection and a consent form regarding confidentiality issues. The interviews were conducted through scheduled meetings with the interviewees, at the headquarters of the company where they work. The duration of the interview varied between 13 and 19 minutes. Acknowledging the limitations of this study, future research may extend the study by analyzing the results of more respondents, analyzing a specific sector of activity or a specific type of risk. A comparative analysis of the respondents may also be conducted to improve the understanding of the factors that explain the importance of human resource in an organization. Research on the topic of the importance that human resources may have in maximizing economic efficiency should be expanded in order to be brought to the company's attention. Research results. The results of the research aim to analyze and identify the process of improving the decision-making of human resources management under the conditions of maximizing economic efficiency in periods of crisis, with reference to the 3 research questions. The importance companies attribute to human resource management. To answer the research question RQ1, does human resources represent an important resource for Romanian companies? 2 aspects included in the questionnaire were followed through the items. RQ 1.11. To what extent are the human resources important for Romanian companies? 2. RQ 1.12. To what extent do you think that the organization you work for paid increased attention to human resources during crisis period? The results presented in Figure 1 show that approximately half of the respondents believe that the organization they work for pays more attention to human resources and also consider them an important resource during a crisis period. The first item, RQ1, I1, concerns the importance companies give to human resource management. Thus, the aim is to identify the respondents' perception, both regarding the company's general policy and its particularities during a crisis period. In detail, it is followed whether the human resource is important for Romanian companies. The results presented in Figure 1 show that the majority of respondents gave a score of 5, followed by a score of 4. Detailing, out of a total of 48 responses, 26 of them were given a score of 5, a score of 4 was given by 12 respondents, a score of 3 was given by 6 respondents, a score 2 was given by 3 respondents, while only one respondent gave the score 1. This is explained by the fact that one of the most important elements of a company are employees, essential for successful implementation of its long-term strategies, an aspect highlighted also by Abikaram et al. 2021. The second item, RQ1. I2, shows the attention that the company pays to human resources during a crisis period. In detail, this item analyzes the importance that Romanian companies give to human resources when a period of crisis occurs. The results presented in Figure 1 illustrate that the majority of respondents gave a score of 5, followed by a score of 4. Detailing, out of the total of 48 responses, 23 of them were given a score of 5, a score of 4 was given by 11 respondents, a score of 3 was given by 9 respondents, score 2 was given by 3 respondents, score 1 was given by 2 respondents. These results are consistent with those obtained by Abikaram et al. 2021. And are explained by the fact that when organizations are forced to resort to severe management practices and activities in order to survive, they tended to minimize the impact on employees as much as possible by adopting appropriate management policies. The descriptive statistics calculated for the item regarding the importance the company assigns to human resources, presented in Table 3, show a mean of 4.3 and a median of 5. Most of the respondents indicated a score of 4 or 5. From the descriptive statistics for the responses regarding the company's attention to human resources during a crisis period, the mean is 4, and the median is 4, showing that employees perceive that during crisis, the management paid a slightly lower attention to human resources aspects, as compared to typical periods. Considering the two items of the section regarding the importance the company attaches to human resource management, combined, the mean score is 4.1. Suggesting that organizations in Romania pay a great deal of attention to human resource management practices and policies. The interviewed managers gave similar answers as those received from the majority of respondents. However, they mentioned that the organizations in which they work emphasize human resources and pay attention to human resource management, especially in periods of crisis. The human resource is one of the most important resources in the company where I work, and it is the basis of our success. The company paid a lot of attention and importance to the human resource, Herm 1. One believed that the human resource is the basis of the entire activity and without it we could not function. The company paid a lot of attention to human resources during the COVID-19 pandemic, Herm 2. The importance that companies give to human resources in the context of maximizing economic efficiency, crisis period. To answer the research question RQ2. Does the human resource represent an important factor for maximizing economic efficiency? 5 aspects included in the questionnaire were followed through the following items. I. RQ 2.11. To what extent does the company you work for offer the opportunity to participate in trainings and improvement courses? 2. RQ 2.12. To what extent do you consider the company you work for offers you performance-based benefits? 3. RQ 2.1I3. To what extent do you consider the work schedule adequate for the fulfillment of professional responsibilities? 4. RQ 2.14. To what extent do you think that the change in the way you work, from on-site to remote/hybrid, has contributed to maximize the economic efficiency of the business? V. RQ 2.15. To what extent did the company provide compensations for your additional costs during the period of online/hybrid activity? The results regarding the first 3 items, shown in Figure 2, show that the majority of respondents consider that organizations in Romania offer their employees the opportunity to participate in training and improvement courses to a great extent, offer a salary based on performance, and, to a very large extent, the work schedule is suitable for the fulfillment of professional responsibilities. The first item, RQ 2.11, relates to the extent to which the company offers the opportunity to participate in trainings and improvement courses. In detail, this item refers to the importance that Romanian companies attach to the development of human resources within the company. The results presented in Figure 2 show that most of the responses regarding participation in such programs and the fulfillment of professional responsibilities are marked with a score of 5. Detailing, out of the total of 48 responses, 22 of them are scored with a score of 5. While score 4 was given by 10 respondents, score 3 was given by 5 respondents, score 2 was given by 6 respondents, and score 1 was given by 5 respondents. Results of previous studies, Adikaram et al., 2021, mention that in order to manage the crisis situation, companies introduce changes in training to reduce costs. The second item, RQ2. I2, concerns the benefits granted to employees according to their performance. In detail, this item refers to the importance that Romanian companies attach to the rewards given to human resources for the fulfillment of the company's objectives. Most of the answers are marked with a score of 4. Out of the total of 48 answers, 18 respondents gave a score of 4, a score of 5 was given by 11 respondents, score 3 was given by 9 respondents, score 2 was given by 6 respondents, and score 1 was given by 4 respondents. In a pragmatic approach, human capital reward and reward policy is considered by Wangzhen Sukcharan and Thaipe Boon Wang, 2023, as an asset from which notable performance is expected. The third item, RQ2. I3, illustrates the appropriate work schedule for the fulfillment of professional responsibilities. In detail, this item refers to the importance that Romanian companies attach to the tasks assigned to each employee and the working time to fulfill them. According to Figure 2, out of a total of 48 responses, 19 respondents gave a score of 5, a score of 4 was given by 15 respondents, a score of 3 was given by 5 respondents, a score of 2 was given by 7 respondents, and a score of 1 was given by 2 respondents. The results concerning the items RQ1, I4 and RQ1, I5, presented in Figure 3, indicate a score of 5 for most of the responses. This shows that the respondents are satisfied, to a high extent, with the behavior of companies regarding the change of working mode from on-site to remote/hybrid and the settlement of employees' additional costs during the period of online/hybrid activity. The fourth item, RQ2, I4, aims at changing the way of working, from on-site to remote/hybrid and maximizing the economic efficiency of the activity during the crisis period. In detail, this item refers to the adaptation conditions in terms of changing the way of working and whether these conditions contributed to the company's performance. As shown in Figure 3, from the total of 48 responses, score 5 recorded 14 responses, score 4 was given by 10 respondents, and scores 3, 2 and 1 were given by 8 respondents each. In the context of COVID-19 restrictions that have forced employees to work remotely, organizational leaders have been challenged to keep employees engaged and motivated. To manage a crisis effectively, an organization must adopt a coherent set of measures, and HR professionals must be aware of employee needs, maintain constant communication, and provide flexibility in work. Dubey et al., 2024. The fifth item, RQ2. I5, referring to the settlement of additional costs during the remote/hybrid activity period, returned the scores shown in Figure 3. In detail, this item refers to the importance that Romanian companies attach to the expenses attributed to the new working conditions. Thus, from the total of 48 responses, 16 responses were recorded with a score of 5, followed by a score of 4 given by 13 respondents, a score of 3 given by 10 respondents, a score of 2 indicated by 6 respondents, while 3 respondents gave the score 1. The human factor may be a vital aid to organizations not only in managing the impact of the current crisis, but also in preparing them for possible future crises. Human resource professionals may improve the performance and effectiveness of organizations, human resource department being of particular importance for this purpose. Nizamadou and Bouzis, 2021. Descriptive statistics related to the second research question, RQ2, are presented in Table 4. For the item RQ2, I1, regarding the opportunity of employees to participate in trainings and improvement courses, the mean is 3.8, while the median is 4. Descriptive statistics for the responses regarding the policy of granting employees benefits based on performance, RQ2. I2, generated a mean of 3.5, and a median of 4. For the responses regarding the adequacy of the work schedule for the fulfillment of professional responsibilities, RQ2. I3, the descriptive statistics show that the mean is 3.8, and the median is 4. Regarding the change in working type, from on-site to remote/hybrid and the correlation of this changes with the maximization of economic efficiency, RQ2. I4, the answers reveal a mean of 3.3, with a median of 3.5. Descriptive statistics regarding the compensations provided by the company for employees' additional costs during the period of online/hybrid activity, RQ2. I5, presents the mean of 2.7, and the median of 3. Considering the results of the descriptive statistics regarding the question aimed at maximizing the economic efficiency regarding the human resource, with the mean of the responses recorded for all 5 items of 3.4, shows that Romanian organizations could pay more attention to these aspects in order to value the human resource and to maximize economic efficiency from all points of view. Companies may also focus on settling additional costs during online/hybrid activity. The interviewed managers mentioned that the organizations they work for put a lot of emphasis on the professional development of employees, RQ2. I1, and, at the same time, they believe that the given benefits reflect the efforts that each employee makes to achieve their performance targets, RQ2. I2. From the responses of the interviewees, we can see that they also believe that the human resource has a significant contribution to maximizing economic efficiency. We organize training and courses for employees' improvement that conducted to an even higher performance of human resources. The company where I work offers a competitive salary for the level of performance achieved by employees, HERM1. In the company where I work, training and development and improvement courses are mandatory, and without them we would not be able to function. It is very important that the salary reflects the performance, and as each employee validates the skills and results, the salary may increase, HERM2. However, for the item related to the adequacy of working schedule for the fulfillment of professional responsibilities, RQ 2.13, HERM1 mentions a disruption in the relationship between working time and professional tasks, considering that, often, the fulfillment of all tasks to meet the proposed objectives requires an extended time, while HERM2 considers this link adequate. Working time is not always enough. The working hours are often overdue, but we try to give employees time off or compensate them financially, HERM1. The dedicated work program is sufficient for the fulfillment of responsibilities, HERM2. Interviewed managers have different opinions regarding the change in the way of work, from on-site to remote/hybrid, RQ2. I4. The manager from the company activating in retail industry specified that the online/hybrid program was not an issue for maximizing economic efficiency, while the company supported the employees with additional resources. On the other hand, the manager from the medical dental industry specified that the online/hybrid option wasn't possible, therefore, no settlement of expenses was involved, RQ2. I5. With the pandemic, we realized that the on-site work at the office has not such a significant aspect for the performance of the employees. We have left the work option open, and we could see that the majority choose the hybrid activity. Thus, we provided the employees with the necessary equipment, HERM1. In the company where I work, the online nor hybrid activity was not possible. Also, there were no statements for these costs because the activity cannot be carried out online, HERM2. The importance given by companies to the management of human resources in crisis period, through the lens of policies and practices. In order to answer the research question RQ3, what are the measures taken by Romanian companies regarding the management of human resources in crisis period, through the lens of policies and practices? A series of aspects included in the questionnaire were tracked with the items. RQ3. I1. How do you rate the HR department's ability to make decisions under pressure? 2. RQ3. I2. Assess how well HR department monitors and addresses employees' morale, health and safety. 3. RQ3. I3. Choose one or more options to identify the management policies and practices adopted by the company you work for, during the crisis period. The results shown in Figure 4 show that most responses are scored with 4. This demonstrates that respondents are highly satisfied with the HR department's ability to make decisions under pressure and to monitor and deal with employees' moral support, health and safety. The first item, RQ3. I1, refers to the ability of the Human Resource Department to make decisions under pressure. In detail, this item refers to the adaptability of the Human Resources Department to face crisis situations that may require quick decisions to help the company get through this period. The results show that most respondents gave a score of 4 for this item. Detailing, out of the total of 48 responses, 18 are given a score of 4, a score of 3 was given by 13 respondents, a score of 5 was given by 10 respondents, a score of 2 was given by 4 respondents, and a score of 1 was given by 3 respondents. Dealing with pressure without falling into burnout requires not only good self-management, but also the implementation of new leadership strategies. Successful leadership depends significantly on the specific circumstances or context. Effective leaders require contextual intelligence, manifested by the ability to understand social changes and their impact on the organization. Newman et al., 2023. The second item, RQ3. I2, illustrates how the HR department monitors and addresses employees' morale, health and safety. In detail, this item refers to the importance that the Human Resources Department attaches to the level of stress, medical conditions and safety of the human resource. Most responses received indicated a score of 4. Detailing, out of the total of 48 responses, 18 are given a score of 4, a score of 5 was given by 13 respondents, a score of 3 was given by 7 respondents, a score of 2 was given by 6 respondents, and a score of 1 was given by 4 respondents. Results support the idea that the ability to adapt to a crisis situation allows the organization to make prompt and appropriate decisions, understanding and quickly reacting to dynamic changes in the environment and effectively allocating available resources. Strong adaptive capacity lays the foundation for the implementation of crisis management strategies. First, a well-adapted organization may apply existing policies and practices to effectively address new problems that arise in crisis situations. Second, the ability to understand the environment and integrate the necessary resources, identified as the two key elements of adaptability, leads companies to continuously understand changes in their operating environment and effectively allocate available resources within the organization. Ma and Zhang, 2022. The results of the descriptive statistics regarding the management of human resources during the crisis are presented in Table 5. For both items, RQ3. I1, which refers to the respondents' assessment of the ability of the Human Resources Department to make decisions under pressure, and RQ3. I2, regarding the company's attention to monitoring and support the employees' moral, health and safety through Human Resources Department. The mean is 3.6, and the median is 4. Considering these two items developed from the research question, RQ3, regarding the importance that companies give to the management of human resources during the crisis and the identification of management policies and practices, the companies are placed in the middle of the scale with a mean of 3.6, from the perspective of the respondents. Thus, companies should pay more attention to human resource management policies and practices in crisis period. The importance of human resource management in times of crisis is supplemented with a multiple choice item, RQ3. I3, to identify the most frequently used management policies and practices during crisis period. A list of possible management policies and practices was offered as responses: cost reduction, salary reduction, personnel reduction, communication, support, motivation and commitment. The results are summarized in Table 6. The most frequently indicated management policy/practice is communication, indicated by 67% of respondents. 32 responses were recorded, followed by cost reduction policy, with 28 responses. The lowest rated are policies/practices regarding personnel reduction, with 10 responses, 21%, and salary reduction, with 6 responses, 13%. Human resources essential for the success of organizations and employees will be more productive if they are involved in organizational processes. Similarly, previous studies concluded that during the periods of crisis, companies that adopted only cost-cutting initiatives, such as salary and personnel reduction, were encouraged to also use practices such as communication, support, motivation, and commitment to reduce the negative impact on employees. Adikaram et al., 2021. Similar to the results from the questionnaire analysis, managers' responses regarding decision-making under pressure, RQ3. I1, mention that it is not easy to make the best decisions given the recent pandemic crisis. Moral support, employee health and safety, RQ3. I2, are important in both companies, where the interviewed managers are employed. Making decisions under pressure, especially in times of crisis, is difficult. Decisions are not always 100% correct, and our reaction time has increased, taking into account the multitude of factors that must be taken into account. We have support for all employees, both morally and financially in case of an unexpected situation. HERM 1. When we are put under pressure, It is not exactly easy to make a decision in the shortest possible time and to be able to anticipate possible results or if it is the best decision you could make. The company monitors and deals with moral support and employee health and safety to a great extent. It is really very important to provide moral support, and to demonstrate that you also care about the human resources well-being, beyond that of the business. HERM 2. Comparing to the answers recorded based on the questionnaire, the interviewees indicated different management policies and practices adopted during the crisis. HERM 1 specifies that the elements that help the company cope with the crisis situation are communication, support, motivation and commitment. Contrary to the response of HERM 1 and to the responses recorded in the questionnaire, HERM 2 mentions that cost reduction and salary reduction were the basic policies and practices that help the company to cope with the crisis situation. During the crisis, we had no reductions in costs or human resources. Communication, support, motivation and commitment were the key to getting through. HERM 1. Cost reduction, of course, and salary reduction because it was necessary, taking into account that during the most recent period of crisis we went through, the company had to be closed for a certain period of time and then we had to cut salaries. The staff was not reduced. From the point of view of communication, contact was kept with each department. Various groups were created on social networks where they communicated very clearly the situation we are in, what to do next, what are the legal aspects. From the point of view of support, motivation, commitment, yes, it was taken into account. HERM 2. Conclusions. The main objective of this research is the analysis of employees' perceptions regarding measures to improve decision-making when considering the behavior of human capital in terms of maximizing economic efficiency, as well as the analysis of human resources management through the lens of policies and practices intended to manage a situation of crisis in the context of Romanian companies. Studies on practices and policies adopted by Romanian companies are still an area of exploration. This study contributes to the expanding literature by examining the bundle of HERM practices that were adopted by organizations to overcome the setbacks caused by the pandemic period. This study contributes to the development of scientific literature by identifying and debating management policies and practices regarding human resources in Romanian companies in the context of economic efficiency in times of crisis. Much more. This research helps companies better understand the role of human resources in the context of maximizing economic efficiency. Challenges are addressed, both in general company policy and during crisis period, while practical information for both employees and managers is included. On the one hand, human resource managers can analyze and identify through this study what are the perspectives of Romanian companies regarding the importance of human resources, what is the contribution of human resources to maximizing the economic efficiency of the company, and what are the practices and policies adopted by companies during a human resource crisis. On the other hand, company leaders can identify with this study the role of human resources in the company, its importance for the achievement of objectives and the contribution of human resources to the company's performance. The detailed analysis of the data reveals that, within Romanian companies, approximately half of the respondents believe that organizations pay special attention to human resources, recognizing its importance. Supporting this conclusion, descriptive statistics reflect a positive perception, with a mean score of 4.3 for the importance given to human resources management. The perspectives of the managers interviewed support these conclusions, emphasizing that human resources are the foundation of organizational success. Regarding the maximization of economic efficiency in times of crisis, most respondents appreciate the significant efforts of organizations. However, the shift to online/hybrid activity was assessed differently, with some seeing it as helping to maximize economic efficiency, while others encountering difficulties. Descriptive statistics indicate a mean score of 3.4 for this research question, suggesting that there is an opportunity to improve and fully exploit the potential of human resources in the context of maximizing economic efficiency. The opinions of the interviewed managers confirm these findings, underlining the organization's sustained efforts in professional development and proportional remuneration of employees. Regarding the management of human resources in times of crisis through the lens of policies and practices adopted, the respondents generally appreciate the skills of the Human Resources Department, but there is still room for improvement. The policies and practices adopted are varied, with communication and cost reduction being highlighted most frequently. The diversity of policies reflects the specific needs of each company, providing opportunities for adaptations and improvements. In conclusion, The data suggest that human resource management is crucial in Romanian companies, both in a regular context and during crisis periods, highlighting a strategic approach to the role of employees in organizational success. Acknowledgements. This paper was co-financed by the Bucharest University of Economic Studies during the PhD program. I appreciate the helpful comments and the constructive suggestions of Professor Camelia Luliana Lungu, Professor Karada Karaani and Professor Cornelia Daskanakaron, during the planning and development of this research. The author has read and agreed to the published version of the manuscript. Author contributions. All the information in this research is made by Anna Maria Bratu. Funding. This research was funded by University of Economic Studies, Accounting Doctoral School. Informed consent statement. Informed consent was obtained from all subjects involved in the study. Data availability statement. The data presented in the study are available on request from the corresponding author. The data are not publicly available due to restrictions. Conflicts of interest. The author declares no conflict of interest. Article info. Article history. Received January 17, 2024. Received in Rev. Form March 12, 2024. Accepted March 26, 2024. Corresponding author. ORCID ID 0009 0003 9557943X. References. Adi Karam, A. S. Nautana, NPGSI, Priyankara, HPR, 2021. Battling COVID-19 with Human Resource Management Bundling. Employee Relations, The International Journal, 42-6, 1269-1289._https://doi.org/10.1108/ER08, 2020, 0390. Athamne, S., 2018. HR Planning for Crisis Management. In Tech Open. http://gx.doi.org/10.5772/intechopen.75233. Bouaziz, F., Hakicha, Z., S., 2018. Strategic Human Resource Management Practices and Organizational Resilience. Journal of Management Development, 37-7, 537-551. https://doi.org/10.1108/JMDLL2017-0358. Dubey, N., Boemson, South Dakota, Morty, A.B., Roy Chowdhury, B., 2024. Soft Term Bundles, A Potential Toolkit for Future Crisis Management. International Journal of Organizational Analysis. https://doi.org/10.1108/EJOA04, 2023, 3706. Hamouche, S., 2021. Human Resource Management in the COVID-19 Crisis, Implications, Challenges, Opportunities, and Future Organizational Directions. Journal of Management and Organization, L16. https://doi.org/10.1017/jmo.2021.15. Ma, B., Zhang, J. 2022. Thai, Strength, Organizational Resilience and Enterprise Crisis Management, An Empirical Study in Pandemic Time. International Journal of Disaster Risk Reduction, 81, 1-16. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.idra.2022.103240. Newman, A., Ferrer, J., Anderson, M., Zhang, Y. 2023, Human Resource Management in Times of Crisis, What Have We Learned from the Recent Pandemic? The International Journal of Human Resource Management, 3415, 2857-2875. https://doi.org/10.1080 out of 095851922.2023.2229100. Nizamadou, C., Bouzas, F., 2021. HR Professionals Cultivating Resilience and Crisis Awareness Door to Business Excellence Environment. Euromed Journal of Business, 16-4, 399-415. https://doi.org/10.1108/EMJB12, 2019, 0150. Pham, D.H., Chu, Taknasavayami, Win, TMG, Win, THL, and Win, TN, 2021. Determinants of Human Resource Accounting Disclosures, Empirical Evidence from Vietnamese Listed Companies. Journal of Asian Finance, Economics, and Business, 87, 129-137. https://doi.org/10.13106/jafeb.2021.volume 8. No 7.0129. Thiwar Sulj, Ka. 2021. Human Resources Development as an Element of Sustainable HRM, with a focus on production engineers. Journal of Cleaner Production, 278, 1-14. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.jilpro.2020.124008. Plater, Q. C. Fraser, M. D. Talbert, P. Y. Davis, V. H. and Talbert, P. S. 2022. Human Resources Strategies and Lessons Learned During the COVID-19 Pandemic, a Literature Review. Management Dynamics in the Knowledge Economy, 10-4, 330,342. https://doi.org/10.2478/2022-0021. Shurtu, F.B., Salskin, A.O., and Essen, E. 2020. Human Resource Disclosures in Corporate Annual Reports of Insurance Companies, A Case of Developing Country. Sustainability, 12-8, 1-20. https://doi.org/10.3390/Sul20834552. Wangzhen Sukcharan, J., Thaipabun Wang, J. 2023, Effective Innovations in Human Resource Practices, Innovation Capabilities, and Competitive Advantage on Small and Medium Enterprises Performance in Thailand. European Research on Management and Business Economics, 29-1, 1-13. https://doi.org/10.1016/j.18.2022.10021.0. Publisher's Note: SPNet stays neutral with regard to jurisdictional claims in published maps and institutional affiliations. Abstract. Strategic Human Resource Management, HRM, over the years has scored significant space in the professional world. The factors like liberalization, emergence of multinationals and competition have also influenced HRM to become strategic and ensure a position of strategic partner in the modern organizations. The importance of becoming strategic is not limited to only a type of organization, moreover has become necessity to all the sectors, including not-for-profit organizations as well. The present paper would aim to look at the strategic plan of a non-profit organization, i.e. DEIA, as a case study to explain its importance in the prevailing practices of the HR unit. Secondly, the paper also put forth the argument of importance of being strategic irrespective of sectors, whether profit-making or not-for-profit organizations. The paper further reflects on the successive prevalence of strategic HRM as part of best practices globally. The paper holds value in the light of the fact that with government, social networks and civil society assuming their responsibilities, social work has become much more than just benevolence. It has become a profession for inclusive development. Hence, business acumen, i.e. management by objectives, MBO, and results impacting the vision and mission of business has been imperative and prevalent in the application of technologies as well as methodologies making social development a business promoting human welfare, compared to business for profit. Keywords: strategic HR, succession planning, talent management. Introduction. The process of globalization, international competition, innovation, and technology has persuaded organizations for being cost-effective and efficient to survive and prosper. One of the most critical roles realized for the same is by the human resources function, as they are the one among all other resources who can bring competitive advantage to the firm. Without HR nothing can be accomplished, and without well-trained, well-developed, well-appreciated and well-managed HR, modern organizations cannot meet the challenges of the globalization age. Farazmand, 2004. So HRM has increasingly been seen as one of the key functions in the development and implementation of strategic responses to this pressure. Ulrich, 1997. Business and HR practitioners and academicians are also of the opinion that by aligning HR policies and practices with business strategies, the field of HRM can become greater strategic contributor to organizational performance and success, Mathis and Jack Kahn 2003, Kondecker and Sharma 2005. Chandra and Shen, 2009, discuss that, if Herm wants to create added value for the organization, it has to become a strategic partner with the business in achieving business goal. The practices under strategic HR have impacted the world of work significantly. It has the capability to alter the traditional ways of managing organization and people within it. So the pressure of being strategic is held equal importance to even nonprofit organizations, can also be called third sector organizations. Strategic Herm. With tremendous pressure put in by liberalization, the HR had to transform itself from just being a support system to a strategic partner in business policy. When Herm functions are driven by business strategy, it comes under the purview of strategic HR. Strategic Herm is a link between Herm and strategic management processes of an organization. By strategic we mean that HR activities should systematically design and intentionally link to an analysis of business and its context. Schuler, Jackson, and Story, 2001. SHRM emphasize on coordination and congruence among the various Herm practices like HR planning, recruitment, selection, training and development, reward and compensation, as they plays crucial roles in the achievement of strategic goals. Chu and Chang, 1999. Strategic HR and talent management. Whatever strategic HR does in form of recruit, retain, develop, reward and make people perform is part of talent management. Companies that engage in talent management are strategic and deliberate in how they source, attract, select, train, develop, retain, promote, and move employees through the organization. Research done on the value of such systems implemented within companies consistently uncovers benefits in these critical economic areas: revenue, customer satisfaction, quality, productivity, cost, cycle time, and market capitalization. Such benefits are equally important for donor-driven or non-profit organizations as well. The only recognized difference is that they don't sell products but aimed at providing high-quality services, which is not possible without well-organized HR processes, as here people work for the people. Need to be strategic. Academics, practitioners and consultants argued that if Herm wants to create added value for the organization, it has to become a strategic partner with the business in achieving its business goals. Recent decades have seen HR becoming a unique and differentiating asset, playing an increasingly important role in organization. Chandra and Shen, 2009. The role HR professionals have now become more critical than ever. On one hand, they have the responsibility to create highly sophisticated workforce which can work in technologically enabled industries, and on the other they have to bear the burden of delaying and right-sizing leaving employment loss to the traditional workforce, with making an organization successful and cost-effective at the same time. The role of HR has become strategic with the increased competition, creating a motivating workforce, facilitating change management and recruiting and retaining the most efficient employees. Here the paper describes the evolution of strategic HR components such as succession planning and talent management in respect of DEIA. Aiming at describing these processes at par with the profit-making organizations. Further, the paper explains how strategic HR concepts like talent management and succession planning have evolved over the years in these organizations, what are the challenges associated with them being donor-driven organizations, and the achievements and success stories of the respective organization. It will also discuss the dynamics of changes that are taking place in management of employees in non-government organization and how Herm strategy is being used in this regards. Succession at DEIA. With a vision to have a society based on legitimate rights, equity, justice, honesty, social sensitivity and a culture of service in which all are self-reliant, DEIA, meaning the Abode of Light, is an India-based non-government development organization working on issues affecting the urban and rural poor, with a special focus on children. It is because every child deserves a chance that the organization exists and works towards making that possible. For over 3 decades, DEIA has been working in the urban slums of Delhi and has also made inroads into rural development in the states of Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. DEIA started on July 16, 1979, with 5 children, 2 teachers and an investment of Rs 17,500/ by the 7 founding members. Preschool education was the beginning then. By 1985, the number of students increased to 133, with 7 staff members moving to primary education with an annual budget of INR 1,00,000/. By 1992, there were 13,000 students and 400 staff members. The program was integrated child development. The annual budget was around 25 million Indian rupees, major part of which came from international funding organizations. By 2000, DEIA reached out to over 35,000 children, their families and communities undertaking integrated development and involving in other issue-based areas. Annual budget was in the vicinity of rupees 30 million. By 2005, DEIA became the largest operating NGO in the national capital state of Delhi, reaching out to 50,000 children, 76 slums, 84 villages in Mewat, Haryana, and 7 villages in Uttarakhand. And the journey continues. Human resource management has come to stay as a professional system in any progressive organization, which is result-oriented and which makes an impact on the society. While managing human resources is popularly practiced by corporates, social sector organizations are fast catching up with the phenomenon as they professionalize themselves. DEIA is no exception. It is a well-known fact that the most important resource of an organization is its people. DEIA, as an institution, values its human resource and their commitment to the cause. With a strong belief in inclusive growth, DEIA also aims to be a preferred employer in the business of social development. It strives to manage change by keenly observing the happenings in its external environment in tandem with periodic critical assessment of its internal environment. The very fact that the organization rose from a 7-member team to a self-sustainable 400-member team speaks volumes of its interest and efforts in holistic approach towards employee development. The shift from personnel management to human resource development is also evident from the fact that some of the good practices that exist are supported by a significant presence of HR in the strategic plan, having a management policy in parallel to the HR policy, ISO certification, resource venture, etc. One of the universal challenges recruitment and retention equally implies to DEIA as well. To address this, DEIA responds back every moment by a rigorous succession planning strategy. A succession plan for all key employees, at all levels. HR practices that nurture succession. While competency mapping, job rotation, morale surveys are common practices with any industry, what differentiates DEIA and makes it a brand employer is its commitment towards the development of its employees. DEIA invests a lot in business exposure of all its project sites as part of mentoring, sensitizing and educating employees on the various programs that DEIA is running for the integrated development of the society. It is extremely important for an employee to perform as for which cause the organization is working and how he or she is contributing to the same. Career development plan meticulously chalked out for each employee, keeping his/her professional desires in mind. More attention has been given on the areas of improvement and inputs are given to enhance the strengths so as to prepare career graph for an employees. Career development plan are been prepared with consultation of an employees and opportunities are provided for the same in forms of promotion and job enrichment. DEIA truly believes in leadership from within. The belief comes from the fact that DEIA values its people and provides them an equal opportunity to grow as the organization grows. All the head of the departments are reserved for employees from within. Other positions are at the first instance offered to employees before sought after externally. Here succession planning plays a major role where people are trained to succeed their immediate supervisor. A very evident implementation of MBO, DEIA's USP is a meticulously carved-out procedure for defining individual objectives by themselves referring to the supervisor's objectives. 100% employees carve their objectives and endorsed by their supervisors before the beginning of new fiscal year, making it a bottom-up approach towards result orientation. Organizational Capacity Assessment Survey. DEIA periodically conducts organizational capacity assessment. The most recent one highlighted the employees' development activities as the strength of this organization. The presence of a process for reviewing and responding to ideas, suggestions, comments from the staff, the provision of opportunities for employees' professional development and training in their job skill area and also in areas as cultural sensitivity and personal development, the maintenance of contemporaneous or updated, current, records documenting are few of them. The report also has a mention about the additional indicator concerned with employee development like value statement that includes standards of ethical behavior and respect for others' interests. Indicators pertain to the presence of a plan that establishes an evaluation process and performance indicators to measure progress toward the achievement of goals and objectives. A typical succession plan at DEIA. It is important to mention the HR excerpts from the strategic plan, which commonly talk about retention of key staff, diversity, gender and differently abled, creating alternate cadres, volunteers, social entrepreneurs, beneficiaries as employees, apprenticeships, etc., and succession planning. According to Derek Stockley, talent management involves individual and organizational development in response to a changing and complex operating environment. It includes the creation and maintenance of a supportive, people-oriented organization culture. Organizations that formally decide to manage their talent undertake a strategic analysis of their current HR processes. Following this, DEIA has created their own model for succession planning, and DEIA's motto, "Enabling Self-Reliance," is the stepping stone for it, where HR leads the enabling the grow differently and empowerment of employees. While there are scientifically proven tools to lead to a succession, DEIA has inculcated the following procedure. Structural manifestations: make small kings instead of one kingpin. Complete decentralization of business, no overshadow of the parent organization, thereby integrating finances and profession. I.e. 4 separate units: DEIA, parent organization, formal school, microfinance, DEIagram. Growing by replicating, the banyan tree concept. Everyone has freedom, enabling initiatives. The outcome is very unique. Decentralized centralism, consultation/re-verification for decision-making, empowerment to take decisions. Set accountability of the board. Instead of having one CEO, one ED, etc., creation of multiple parallel positions giving an opportunity for growth. Those who have worked for more than 8 to 10 years have added value, knowledge, skills, and have risen to positions which are on one hand a part of the organization they have built and on the other hand claimed it. An environment enabling decision-making. Multiple signatories in a non-contemporary permutation and combination. A classic example of head of the project and a board member being signatories for the said project. Success stories. Talent management practices in DEIA have helped them earn the reputation to produce some of the best talents within the social development fraternity. On the one hand, a parting employee leaves a gap, but on the other hand his/her growth sets an example for others in the organization and takes the learning and values to other organizations. At the same time, many of their beneficiary alumni have come back as employees. As many as 20 girls who have educated themselves from DEIA are today teaching in their schools, which show the loyalty, trust and commitment of the students to the project. Additionally, many people who started working as interns or volunteers join the organization as employees, and some of them have even risen to the levels of directors over a period of time. They have proven that they are able to identify and groom talent from within, and a few examples are: DEIA has had at least 2 executive directors, through the internal succession planning, grown from within. Few other examples are: executive trainee identified and work as a deputy to the ED. The resource mobilization coordinator rose to this position from being a school principal, whereas she joined as a volunteer 12 years back. Assistant manager, programs, was given independent charge of 2 programs under the direct leadership of ED. Junior executive IT appointed 10 years back today heads the entire IT department and is taking strategic decisions relevant to the development of IT in the organization. Teacher from Sanjay Colony School took over as headmistress of Gulkwan School. Headmistress of Kalkaji School took over as assistant manager, formal education, having 5 schools reporting to her. Conclusion. Coming from a background of human resources, and operating in social development sector, we realize that nonprofit organizations need to address the following issues. 1. Social work as a profession by itself needs a reorientation, i.e. management by objectives and results impacting the vision and mission of business. HRD plays a vital role on this one. 2. Profit in an alternate perspective, i.e. a parallel in application of technologies and methodologies making social development a business, promoting human welfare, making people self-reliant, compared to business for profit. CSR plays an active role here. 3. While DEIA has achieved a 100% self-sustainable management team at their head office, they continue to be donor-driven for their community development initiatives. Despite this, the volatile funding scenario does not deter the HR team at DEIA from developing its precious human resource. It is evident that while NGOs and corporates have distinct work cultures and challenges when it comes to getting results, they are not that different from for-profit organizations. A defined vision, with focus on management and the right people seems to be the correct combination, regardless of the nature of the business. References: Archana Kappa and John S. 2012. Spreading the Light of Education Through Its People, a Case Study of HR Practices at DEIA. Asia Pacific Journal of Management Research and Innovation, Volume 8, Number 2. Pages 215 to 222. Bhatnagar, J. and Sharma, R. 2003. Strategic HR Roles in India, A Rhetoric or Reality? Indian Journal of Industrial Relations, Volume 38, Number 4, pages 409 to 424. Chandra and Shen, J. 2009. HERM Strategic Integration and Organizational Performance. New Delhi, Sage Publications. Chu, I., and Chang, P. 1999. Effects of Strategic Human Resource Management on Strategic Vision. International Journal of Human Resource Management, Volume 10, pages 1031 to 1045. Farazmand, A. 2004. Innovation in Strategic Human Resource Management, Building Capacity in the Age of Globalization. Public Organization Review, A Global Journal, Volume 4. Pages 3 to 24. Kondekar, A. and Sharma, A. 2005. Managing Human Resource Capabilities for Sustainable Competitive Advantage, An Empirical Analysis from Indian Global Organizations. Journal of Education and Training, Special Edition, Volume 47, pages 628 to 639. Mabi, C., and Salaman, G. 1998. Strategic Human Resource Management, for Change Development and Performance. New Delhi, Beacon Books. Mathis, R. and Jackson, J. 2003. Human Resource Management. Singapore, Thomson. Saini, D. S., and Khan, S. A. 2000. Human Resource Management, Perspective for the New Era. New Delhi, Response Book. Sonhi, J. S. 1994. Emerging Trends in Industrial Relations and Human Resource Management in Indian Industries. Indian Journal of Industrial Relations, Volume 30, pages 19 to 37. Tarrington, D. and Hall, L. 1998. The Nature of Personnel and Human Resource Management in HERM. London, Prentice Hall. Ulrich, D. 1997. Human Resource Champions, The Next Agenda for Adding Value and Delivering Results. Boston, Harvard Business School Press. Web resources. www.dplia.org. Vasudha Sanhi. Human Resource Practitioner, Nonprofit Sector, New Delhi. Email, vasudasanhi@hotmail.com. Prerana Singh Nirmal. Department of Social Work, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Email, prerana.snirmal@yahoo.co.in. Introduction. During the last 2 decades, a number of author 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have been influential in shaping the concepts of core competence. They argue that the core competence is the basis for devising business strategy and offering unique products and services to customers. We agree that core competence is often recognized in the form of intellectual capital or other intangible assets such as culture, brand name or marketing knowledge, as opposed to tangible assets such as plant and equipment. 6 Owing to the work of notable social thinkers such as Handy, 7 companies are recognizing that their employees are their most valuable assets. Business pioneers are finding surprising ways to measure and manage the ultimate intangibles of a company, that is, skill, knowledge and information. Intellectual capital is a special form of human capital that is codified, formalized, captured and leveraged to produce a higher value asset. Many managers admit that the bulk of the value added is derived from the intellectual capital. Moreover, the intellectual capital is here to stay. It is the value of tangible or hard asset, which can depreciate or vanish over time. However, in the present business climate of job opportunities, companies are always under the constant threat of losing their core people, and therefore essential business knowledge. This, in our view, is reflected in the recent developments in the competence management field. 8,9 We have proposed an analytical hierarchy process, AHP, method in order to help companies to identify their core capabilities using both financial and non-financial measures such as learning and innovation. 10 Staff turnover issues have reached to such a level that many industrial, Service and consulting organizations are investing a big slice of their resources under knowledge management initiatives. 11,12. In our view, an efficient human resource or intellectual capital investment strategy demands a good understanding of the dynamics of recruitment and training issues. In this paper, recruitment, training, and skill and knowledge management are illustrated more explicitly in a causal loop form. Strategies for human resource management are developed in the form of a systems dynamics model. Simulations are conducted to illustrate the time-based dynamics of skill attrition, recruitment and training programs. We anticipate such a modeling exercise would serve as useful aid for devising an effective medium to long-term intellectual capital management strategy for organizations. Human resource and knowledge management. A good knowledge management, KM, definition is given by Swan et al. 13, who defined it as any process or a practice of creating, acquiring, capturing, sharing and using knowledge, wherever it resides, to enhance learning and performance in organizations. Johannesson et al. 14 have given a fuller account of various types of knowledge, namely systemic, explicit, tacit, hidden, and relationship knowledge. Systemic knowledge is learned by studying patterns such as those from scenario planning exercises or computer simulations. Explicit knowledge is relatively easy to attain and communicate through listening and reading. Relationship knowledge is learned via interaction and is relatively difficult to communicate. The most difficult forms are tacit knowledge and hidden knowledge, because these are difficult to comprehend and communicate. Hidden knowledge is the way of organizing ideas in mental models and is usually learned by socializing. However, the most valuable form of knowledge is tacit knowledge. Johannesson et al. 14 refer to it as know-how, which is acquired or learned by using, doing and experimenting. Tacit knowledge is usually very subjective and resides inside one's head, and is, therefore, difficult to communicate, comprehend and quantify. For this reason, organizations are struggling to discover how to motivate their people to share tacit knowledge, which is recognized as a strategic asset. In our view, many companies attempt to achieve this via employee training, apprenticeship, and competence development, job shadow, programs. 15. We illustrate the KM process in the form of a knowledge flywheel effect as shown in Figure 1. See article image. 15 Human beings have the amazing capacity to elicit and enrich existing knowledge while simultaneously receiving and interpreting different forms of data and information through various knowledge embodiment receptacles. Demarest 9 has explained that when knowledge is, explicitly, embodied, it may reflect in the form of raw materials, products, services, machinery, mechanisms, business practices and processes, environment and culture. Note that in our view, environment and culture embodies both tacit as well as explicit forms of knowledge. The challenge for a company is to develop appropriate policies and procedures in order to reflect knowledge flywheel effects, where the knowledge enrichment process is taking place via the interchange between tacit and explicit knowledge, and knowledge codification is in operation to enhance organization memory. There are many examples where companies are resorting to information technology tools to devise a kind of KM system in order to store explicit knowledge. For us, information technology solutions rather relate to explicit knowledge and organization memory. However, an appropriately devised and implemented human resource management system that emulates knowledge flywheel characteristics has a lot to offer with rewards to managing in tacit knowledge in the organization. Also, a good knowledge management system, KMS, should be able to attract company employees as well as other stakeholders voluntarily to get involved in some kind of knowledge sharing and learning activities. Often such communities of practice, COP, act as a medium to enhance individuals' knowledge and skills, and therefore facilitating informally via participating members the organization's competencies. A summary of some characteristics of KMS and their interrelationships is presented in Table 1. Some characteristics of a knowledge management system. Systems dynamics. J. Forrester 20 conducted some pioneering work by combining the fields of feedback control theory, computer and management sciences as early as 1961 in order to shape the systems dynamics discipline. More recently, tools such as systems thinking have made many gains in soft systems problem structuring as advocated by Senge. 21 and other examples. Moorcroft 22 has used systems dynamics to examine the management behavioral resource system to analyze a diversification strategy based on core and non-core business. Winch 23 has used systems dynamics to introduce a skill inventory model to manage the skill management of key staff in times of fundamental change. Coyle et al. 24 have used systems dynamics to manage and control assets and resources in major defense procurement programs. Warren 25 defines tangible and intangible resources for systems dynamics model development. Hafiz et al. 26 have used systems dynamics modeling to re-engineer a supply chain. In this paper we make use of an inventory and order-based production control structure, IOPS, based on systems dynamics as described by Coyle 27 and Toil 28 to develop a skill inventory pool model. Causal loop analysis. Causal loop diagrams, or influence diagrams, are used to develop cause and effect relationships between the main variables of a system. 27 In our view, key components of a simple KM model should represent an interlink between knowledge, skill, and training/learning processes as identified in Table 1. Figure 2c article image illustrates the causal loop format of a simplistic KMS. In reality, existing knowledge, if not updated, becomes obsolete with time due to the instability of the market or product portfolio changes. Also, corporate knowledge erodes when employees leave the company, taking away the important knowledge within their heads. These influences are represented using feed-forward and feedback loops. Clearly, the higher the knowledge erosion rate, the faster the corporate knowledge pool depletion or memory loss. The management needs to take appropriate actions through recruitment and/or training employees to maintain the minimum reasonable knowledge level to conduct essential business operations. Also, strategic knowledge and competencies, through recruitment and training, need to be developed for long-term competitiveness and sustainability of the business. Skill Pool Model, SKPM. Skill, knowledge and competence are identified as the essential resources of the knowledge economy. These cannot be bought in or delivered instantly. Usually it takes a considerable amount of time to develop and support the required infrastructure to nurture required skills and competencies. The causal loop illustrated in Figure 2 is very involved, comprising a number of interlinked feed-forward and feedback loops. A computer simulation model and subsequent dynamic analysis is possible, but is of limited use as the individual parameter changes, e.g., recruiting rate, cannot be isolated easily. Also, full-scale sensitivity analysis for the entire organization would be prohibitive due to the large number of variables involved. Therefore, we propose a simplistic model based around the key variable skill to reflect the dynamics of intellectual capital and organization knowledge. A skill pool model, SKPM, is developed to help understand the dynamics of skill acquisition and retention, particularly during times when a company is planning some major changes in its product/service portfolio. There is an implicit link with the organization environment to reflect how new skills can improve the organization productivity and innovation process. The present and future recruitment and training needs are represented as a function of present skill loss rate in a feed-forward path. Also, the skill pool level and recruitment and training performance are managed by introducing a feedback loop. The skill pool model, SKPM, is derived by translating the concepts of IOPS. The IOPS model has been identified by Coyle 27 as representing much of the UK's industrial practice associated with industrial systems, which also involves human experience. Toil 28 has shown how the IOPS model can be shaped to satisfy those conditions under which analogous linear control systems for other applications have been regarded as optimum. Chima et al. 29 have developed an extension of this model by making use of feed-forward information with regards to ordering trends and targeting customer service levels, and the feedback of information on finished goods stock, and production lead time variances. Ferris and Toil 30 have shown how IOPS forms the basis of a generic family of production control systems representing the performance of many industrial sectors. Hafiz et al. 26 have shown its usefulness for modeling a multi-echelon supply chain. Mason-Jones et al. 31 have extended this work to show its applicability in an efficient consumer response (ECR) environment by linking point of sale to instigate inventory triggers. Influence diagram. The influence diagram for SKPM is shown in Figure 3c article image, using the standard iThink software package. The software allows one with no or only elementary control theory knowledge to construct an equivalent model to represent time-based dynamics. In order to anticipate the skill loss replacement requirements, some kind of averaging is useful. The present skill loss rate is exponentially averaged over a time, (TA), and added back to the original training rate to reflect the skill loss history in the recruitment planning. Figure 3 illustrates that the company training rate comprises two parts, one the present skill deficit/gap, and the other the averaged, Forecast, skill loss rate. Training rate is therefore effectively controlled by TA, the average time to determine the forecast skill loss rate, and T, the time over which the present skill gap is to be recovered. The difference between the present skill loss rate and recruitment or skill development rate is accumulated to give the present actual level of the skill pool. Therefore, the model as shown in Figure 3 consists of two parts: feedback control based on the skill gap and feed-forward control based on the forecast skill loss rate. In order to analyze the dynamic response of the skill pool, recruitment, training, process delay is represented by a time delay TR, training lead time, and the time over which skill loss rate is averaged by TA. TOEL 28 suggests using exponential delay for industrial dynamics simulation. We have used the discrete version of exponential delay in SKPM. Details of the discrete time feed-forward and feedback difference equations giving the relationship between the major variables are presented in the appendix. It is important to recognize how to manage the actual level of the skill pool. To reach the desired value, a simple and appropriate policy is proportional control, where information concerning the magnitude of the actual level of skill pool, is fed back to control the training rate. The training rate is calculated by dividing the discrepancy between the desired and actual value of the level by a time factor, which represents the average delay in performing the training rate. Dynamic analysis. As shown in Figure 3, the policy parameters T, TA and TR are varied to determine their optimum settings using simulation results. Once selected, the system operates with the recruit skill rate automatically governed by TA and T for a present skill loss rate and skill gap. During normal operation, the management would observe skill gap and training completion rate to meet the organization's requirement. The system dynamics model and simulation analyses presented in this paper relate to a hypothetical IT company employing 400 staff. The company is going through a major diversification strategy, needing 1/4 of the total workforce to undergo a recruitment and/or training program. Also, the company has to cope with, on average, 5% employee turnover at any time. Therefore, the simulation model is subjected to some 20% increase in the present skill retraining rate, as per 100 employees, as shown in Figure 4. See article image. Figures 4a and b, respectively, show the response of actual skill pool, and training, recruitment, completion rate for a range of t-values. The larger the t-values, the larger the skill pool drop, indicating the company is unable to recover from the skill shortages over a period of time. With the worst-case scenario, in Figure 4a, the company faces skill shortages for about 50 months if t equals 16 months. On the other hand, a small t-value would allow recovery of the skill deficiency much more quickly, e.g., note the actual skill pool values for t ranging from 1 to 4. However, very small t-values induce unwanted oscillations about the required skill pool value over a longer period. Clearly, in control theory terminology, this is a bad system design. In reality, this shows a very aggressive hiring and firing human resource policy, showing inappropriate management of human capital and associated cost implications. Under such circumstances, the company would be forced to introduce short-term employment contracts to avoid offering redundancy or golden handshake packages. The aggressive hiring and firing policy would reflect in low staff morale and a realistic risk of more staff leaving the company while voting with their feet. Consequently, there would be serious implications on productivity and customer service level, and, ultimately, on the bottom-line performance. For a pure training scenario, these transients reflect excessive training or undertraining issues, again an undesirable situation. Also, while selecting training pace has to be adjusted in line with workforce background and individual learning capacity. Figure 5. See article image, illustrate the influence of TA, the averaging parameter, to control the extravagant hiring and firing and training policy. Figure 5a shows that as the value of TA is gradually increased, say from 0 to 16 months, the actual skill pool overshoot and therefore, hiring and firing oscillations are well managed. However, this would dictate the corresponding skill pool recovery only after 30 months, a totally unacceptable scenario in many situations. Also, there is a marginal improvement in the recruitment overshoot rate for higher values of TA. Figure 6. The article image illustrates the skill pool and recruitment completion rate response for varying recruitment, training, lead time TR. Clearly, the smaller the TR, the quicker the skill pool inventory recovers while avoiding any over-recruitment. If required skills are scarce in the marketplace and recruitment delay approaches 16 months, for example, An extreme scenario, the company could suffer from an agitated hiring and firing policy for well over a 5-year period in order to recover from present skill needs. In order to devise a good human resource policy, that is, which values of TAR related to TR yield the best recruitment, training, performance, we have made use of the well-documented IOBX model trade-off procedure, TOEL 28. The optimization guidelines taken under consideration include: as with TOEL 28, the SKPM optimum was found to be T equals TR and TA equals 2 TR at TR equals 4 months. Table 2. A summary of the performance index for the optimum human resource policy design parameters. Gives the overall summary of the effect of varying TA, and TR in the human resource policies. Conclusions. Many organizations have realized that proper management of their skill and competence base is key to their survival and profitability in the knowledge economy. 6,32 Therefore, they need to understand the dynamics of their intellectual capital and human resource management policy. The skill pool model presented in this paper allows organizations to maximize the value of their intellectual assets and workforce. By tweaking human resource policy parameters TA, and TR, management should be able to optimize desired recruitment patterns while looking at current workforce shortages. Also, it is possible to minimize the current and future, desired, skill gap by devising appropriate recruitment and training programs. From the simulation results, it is evident that the proportional control achieved through T in the feedback path is more influential than TA in the feed-forward path. Also, an adherence to the given recruitment time, assumed 4 months in this case, is absolutely essential to minimize unwanted transients in the system impacting on staff morale or scheduling required customer service level. Also, knowledge of unnecessary recruitment, training, delay transients would allow management to estimate the incurred losses due to an acute hiring and firing policy. In some situations, management may decide to meet some staff shortages by moving towards a multi-skill policy and offering training to existing employees. Here, systems dynamics simulations can help to provide training/learning time estimates against the required skill shortages and associated costs. Barney J.B., 1991, Firm Resources and Sustained Competitive Advantage JMNGT 1799-120. Grant R.M., 1991, The Resource-Based Theory of Competitive Advantage, Implications for Strategy Formulation California MNGT Rev 33 114-135. Prahalad, Hamel C.K., G., 1990, The Core Competence of the Corporation Harvard Bus Reverend May to June 79-91. Hamel G., 1994, The Concept of Core Competence Competence-Based Competition 1133 John Wiley & Sons Limited, New York. Nanda A., 1996, Resources, Capabilities and Competencies Organizational Learning and Competitive Advantage 93 120 Sage Publications Limited, London. Hafiz, Jang, Malik K., Y., N., 2002, Identifying Core Competence IEEE Potential 28 Dover Publications, USA. Handy C., 1989, The Age of Unreason Business Books, London. Davenport, Marshawn Th., D.A., 1999, Is KM Just Good Information Management? Mastering Information Management, Supplement, Financial Times 615. Demarest M., 1997, Understanding Knowledge Management Long Range Planning 3374-384. Hafiz, Jang, Malik K., Y., N., 2002, Determining Key Capabilities Using Analytic Hierarchy Process, AHP, Int J. Prod Econ 7639-51. Thornbury J., 1999, Revitalizing Culture Through Values, Ericsson Business Consulting Business Strategy Review 10-1-15. Pilati P., 1999, Knowledge and Competence Management, Ericsson Business Consulting Business Strategy Review 10-20-28. Swan, Scarborough, Preston J., H., J., 1999, Knowledge Management, A Literature Review Issues in People Management 80 Institute of Personnel and Development, London. Johannesson, Olson, Olason J., B., J., 1999, Aspects of Innovation Theory Based on Knowledge Management in J and Fem NGT 19-121-139. Hafiz K., 2000, Knowledge Management in Supply Chains 218-224. Sanchez, Amy, Howard R. H. T. 1996, Towards the Theory and Practice of Competence-Based Competition. Dynamics of Competence-Based Competition, Theory and Practice in the New Strategic Management 1-2 Elsevier, Oxford. 1987, Collins Co-Build Language Dictionary 803 William Collins Sons and Company Limited, Glasgow. Baker, Maples, New J.C., J. C.C., 1997, A Hierarchical Model of Business Competence Integraman of SIST 8 265-272. Thiol, Lyle C., M., 1985, Organizational Learning Academ NGT Rev 10 803-813. Forrester J.W., 1961, Industrial Dynamics. The MIT Press, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Senge P.M., 1994, The Fifth Discipline, The Art and Practice of the Learning Organization. Doubleday, New York. Moorcroft J.D.W., 1999, Management Attitudes, Learning and Scale and Successful Diversification, A Dynamic and Behavioral Resource System View. JOPL Rees Soc 5315-336. Winch W., 1999, Dynamic Visioning for Dynamic Environment. JOPL Rees Soc 5354-361. Coyle, Exelby, Holt R.G., D. J., 1999, System Dynamics in Defense Analysis, Some Case Studies. JOPL Rees Soc 5372-382. Warren K., 1999, The Dynamics of Strategy. Business Strategy Review 1041-54. Heffies K., 1996, Systems Design of a Two-Echelon Steel Industry Supply Chain in J-Prod Econ 45 121-130. Coyle R., 1977, Management System Dynamics. John Wiley & Sons, Chichester. Toil Dr., 1982, Dynamic Analysis of an Inventory and Order-Based Production Control System in J-Prod Rees 2671-687. Chima, Toil, Bishop P., Dr. B., 1989, A Combined Feed-Forward/Feedback to Make Model for a Multi-Product Machine Shop 101-105. Ferris, Toil J.S., Dr., 1993, Benchmarking a Generic Family of Dynamic Manufacturing Ordering and Control Models. JSysTech 3 170-182. Mason Jones, Toil, Heffies R., Dr. K., 1995, Dynamics of Pipeline Control. Heffies, Zhang, Malik K., Y. N., 2002, Core Competence for Sustainable Competitive Advantage, A Structured Methodology for Identifying Core Competence. IEEE Transing MNGT 4928-35. School of Computing and Management Sciences, Sheffield Hallam University, Sheffield, UK. Mechanical Engineering Department, Faculty of Engineering, Nasser City, Cairo, Egypt. Correspondence, K. Heffies, School of Computing and Management Sciences, Sheffield Hallam University, City Campus, Howard Street, Sheffield S11WB, UK. Email, kheffies@shu.ac.uk.